If you were a snowman, you wouldn't be a Miami fan because if you went to a game, you'd melt. Now, how does that make any sense? It's an absurd ornament. Absurd.
Absurd, is it?
Absurd.
Yes, it is. Like, they should be Vikings fans and Lions fans and Bills fans and Browns fans where it's cold and there's snow and they could cheer on their team.
Are you talking about snowmen in general?
Yes, I'm talking about snowmen. They couldn't go to a Dolphins game and cheer them on in Miami. They would melt.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 12 picks against the spread and Cust Corner and what we're now calling the Omaha Steak Premium Picks of the Week, a.k.a. the SUPERLOCKS. Code Mayo at Omaha Steaks, by the way. 50% off on the site. $30 more off when you use code Mayo. So give a gift at omahasteaks.com. Thank you very much. Want to let everyone know that we are not covering the Thanksgiving games in this show. If you are looking for the Thanksgiving Day spread picks, you need to tune into Mayo Media Network live Thursday morning, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Geoff, and Tim Cust.
That's not my name.
We'll be live doing the picks, game by game, maybe even some best bets along the way, too, to get you. The pregame show that you really need to watch is this one, and it will be up there until kickoff and after if you still want to watch it. I might even throw it up on the pod feed afterwards in case you want to listen to it as the day goes along. But, Tim, it'll be the first ever live Cust Corner that we do.
Is that true? Is that actually true? Wow.
Yeah, we've never done a Cust Corner in a live show before.
That is a lot of pressure, and I may crack. I don't know. No, that sounds like a lot of fun. I've got to think up about something between then and now. I had to rack my brain for this week before I came up with what I think is a pretty good topic, which I'm passionate about.
Oh, good. It's always good when you're passionate about something. We can even talk about what I told you that you should start bringing to potlucks, as we discussed after the Sunday show when I was hacking up along. Geoff, we buried the lead long enough. Congratulations, my friend, a father for the third time.
Thank you very much. It's exciting. It's exciting. Things are different. Sort of like messed up a perfect situation. But long-term gains. Long-term gains.
If you could pick any one team to gear your firstborn son to be a fan of, who would it be?
Football?
Yeah, not the Chargers, I'm guessing.
No, not the Chargers. As I always said, fortunate enough, my grandfather retired to San Diego before I was born. Beautiful place to retire, but that was the domino that led to this. Obviously, he didn't want to retire in Pittsburgh or Green Bay. I don't know. Pittsburgh probably has a really high floor, right? Like the standard is high there. They're always competitive. It's a blue blood franchise, well run. But I don't know. That's a tough question. Because, like, by the time whoever's good today, like, by the time the kid's 12 years old, 13 is actually going to care, like, that doesn't matter. So you just want, like, a stable you want a good franchise. I'd say Pittsburgh.
I have a sneaky pick in this, Tim. Who would be your choice? The Jets?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
NFC team. Blue blood, great city that you and your son could go visit, watch sports games at, et cetera, et cetera.
Didn't realize you were a big San Francisco tourist fan.
As I've been told, they've got some of the best restaurants in North America. Like although the stadium's in Santa Clara, so whatever. Anyway,
you're just happy Newsom cleaned up the streets for your buddy. CCP.
He's such a good governor. I'm really impressed by him. Yeah, San Francisco, NFC, blue blood. That's who I would pick.
Yeah, that's probably a good answer because you're assuming the NFC is just like the Eastern Conference in basketball, like it's just always bad or worse.
That way, his team isn't playing your team very often.
So there's that
other
angle.
Conference. You don't need that rivalry.
Do you know what my favorite moment I mean, literally top 3 show all time, Sopranos, at least for me, definitely top 5. But for me, my favorite moment is, and during university with this season, at least for me, college, when the Chargers, their heyday, like you could go into any Foot Locker across North America and see a powder blue LaDainian. Like that was our glory moment. Bobby, Baklava, and Tony were sitting in Bobby's house to watch a Giants game, and Bobby Jr. comes running down the stairs, and Bobby's like, "Where you going?" He's like, "I'm going to Jimmy's to watch the Chargers play." And Bobby Sr. screams, "But this is a Giants house." I like that. But yeah, listen, I hope for him. I don't know.
I want to hear Pat's pick.
There's better things to do than liking being a fan of a team, but yeah.
I mean, I guess that would be my pick as me, just no one, whoever you bet on that week. But Paul, what were you going to say?
Tim was saying that you don't need that rivalry, but his dad is a noted Miami Dolphins fan. How did you become a Jets fan? I don't feel like we've ever heard that before, and it struck me.
They caused pain to the Dolphins, and Tim probably enjoyed seeing his dad in pain. That's my guess.
Now, Tim watched the movie Elf, and he just identified with that kid with the Wing Corbett jersey.
I was already very, very, very deep into Jets fandom by then.
Yeah, why? That's what Paul's asking.
Well, I couldn't cheer for the same team as my father. I just couldn't do it.
But you cheer for the same hockey team as your father.
We do share the same hockey team, but when it came to football, we couldn't cheer for the same. I was like 6 or 7.
Who made that decision, though?
I did. I just didn't want to, and I certainly couldn't cheer for a Boston
team. So you
team.
picked a team. You saw the Jets beat the Dolphins. Your dad was sad, and you're like, "That's my team." That's my guess.
I don't even think it was. No, I mean, I couldn't cheer for a Boston team. And the people who I knew who were Buffalo fans, I just didn't want to be fans of a Buffalo team either. So the Jets were like an unobjectionable option. And they had just gone to the AFC Championship that season. That was the 1998 season. So I decided to just as a footnote, the year I started cheering for the Jets, the very first game they played, Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles tendon in the opening game. And their whole season was ruined. So it really set that tone.
Okay, that's a great footnote, but I'm just more intrigued with me being so right. Like you saw the Jumbo Elliott touchdown made you a Jets fan, I think.
Well, no, Jumbo Elliott scored his touchdown in 2000. That was not that year. That I was already well a Jets fan by then. I believe it was the year after they lost. Like I started cheering for them. My dad and I watched that Jets-Broncos AFC Championship game in 1998.
Yeah.
And I was very excited for the Jets that season. Like I wanted the Jets to win because I didn't like the Broncos. They had just won the Super Bowl. I was cheering for them. And so I decided to become a Jets fan that day. They lost that game after leading at halftime. And then they lost their starting QB the next year. So pain attended my Jets fandom very quickly. So
I still think this is tied to like wanting to be combative with your dad because I have so
there's
many
a natural
friends,
rivalry to stuff.
I have so many friends who love the Dolphins. I've brought that up many times. There's a lot of like Bills regionally, like so many like snowbird reasons. Dan
the Dolphins are the worst too. You have to understand that the Dolphins are the worst with their pretentious colors.
But they weren't the worst then. Those were the like Jay Fiedler. Those were the Jay Fiedler teams with
Marino
defense.
Marino. It was a Marino era still. I still remember the.
But I like the Jets because they caused the Dolphins like pain. Like that's why I've said to you the Jets. I'm a closeted Jets fan. The Chargers are my 1st through 31st favorite team. The Jets are my 2nd favorite team at 32nd though. And it's because they caused the Dolphins pain. But I don't. I've gotten, that was it.
Okay. I mean, they do cause the Dolphins pain, but they cause me a lot more pain than they cause the Dolphins pain.
So they're probably not causing the Dolphins pain this week.
Probably not. Although, wouldn't it be great? I mean, some of our Dolphins fans have already said that they're very annoyed they don't get to play Zach Wilson after everybody else got to play Zach Wilson. They want their turn, their turn, and they don't get it. So
we have one friend who just complains to Tim about the Jets, like ironically, like how Tim seriously complains about things in terms of like the Jets schedule, who they have to play. He's just like, it's very unfair that the Dolphins have to play Tim Boyle this week and don't get to have Zach Wilson.
I love that somehow that line went up after the Tim Boyle announcement. Like, if people think Zach Wilson is worth 2.5, 3 points, you people are beside yourself.
Who did Pat pick?
So here were my three. San Francisco was going to be number one. I would be looking for like longevity of consistently being good. So I guess Pittsburgh would fit that bill as well. Green Bay would probably fit it as well too. But they're a bit small market. I have another small market one that I would go with over them. So I just think they're cooler. But San Francisco would be number one. Denver would be number two. Because Denver's...
That would cause pain
It would.
in
But
the household. Jeff hates Denver.
yeah, but this is
No,
just...
that's no chance. But I see where Pat is going.
Yes, Denver is a blue blood staple franchise.
And they've got new ownership that could turn out to, like, their pockets are deep. It could be a great, stable franchise. They've always been stable under the Bolins for the until the end when he got dementia, and an estate was running the team for a couple years, I think. But
yeah, like
yeah, that's a sneaky good pick.
this is
They are on the borderline of blue blood too.
this is the longest they've been without making the playoffs. Is right now. They won the Super Bowl and they haven't made the playoffs since.
And who's third?
I was gonna say the Ravens. The Ravens are kind of always good.
Yeah, that's a good pick too.
Like the Ravens are the cooler Steelers.
And I'm more of a purple guy, a grimace guy, than I am black and gold. So yeah, you're right. They're kind of a new age.
Yeah. And you couldn't wish the Vikings on him for purple because that's the same type of pain, but just different.
Oh yeah, that'd be like being. Oh yeah, here's the four I'm going with: the Bills, the Browns, the Vikings, and the Lions. Have your choice.
Hey, you left out the Chargers?
Or the Jets.
Yeah, they're kind of like jabroni franchises. Those other
What
franchises.
about getting in on the ground floor of the new Washington ownership?
I was gonna say the new London team.
Yeah, the London Jaguars. A reason for you to go across the pond, Jeff.
Yeah, or maybe my kid can like the Lions. They're close enough regionally. Listen, it's a choose your own adventure. I don't know. He'll be geared out accordingly. The crew, like, once he's aware they have to be good, or you've got like no chance, I think. I don't know. That's a long way down the road. I will say, friends, he didn't come till about 6:00 on Sunday. He was not part of that. And in a perfect world, my head was like, okay, he should be so lucky to never have to experience that dipshit of a head coach. Like,
Did you enjoy the press conference?
If we could make the move this week, my son will never experience that. Right? Like, he still hasn't been here for a Chargers game. Not that that matters, but like a fresh slate, because that's a reset is needed. But there's an online controversy brewing at the moment.
Is it like a real one, or is this one that you saw on Rumble?
The dress
No.
is white and gold.
What's white and gold?
It's saying Yanni, Jeff, not Laurel.
Oh, it's not saying Yanni.
We've lost Jeff
Jeff is very much out of touch with pop culture.
from 15
I'm-
years ago.
Not even that old, but yeah.
See, Jeff.
Now he's just leaving.
Yeah,
Jeff has to go find treasure.
Yeah, he's hunting for treasure. It's been too long for him. So let's recap last week. I should let people know there are 3 DraftKings listeners leagues this week. One for Thanksgiving, one for Black Friday, and then one for the main slate. Those are all available down in the description right now. If you missed the ranking show, you didn't really miss it. There was no ranking show this week. I have COVID, so I've been feeling like absolute dog shit. And Jake had strep throat, so we couldn't do the show on Monday. But the rankings are also down in the description right now. You can find those at DK Network. You can find them in the newsletter, which is free to join. Those get updated all of the time. To recap our records from last week, Jeff and I tied for the best at 9-5 apiece. He remains a game behind me in the overall standings. I'm 87-76. He's 86-77. Cust went 7-7 to be 73-88. The only one below 500 in the coin, 6-8, is still 85 and 78, 2 games behind me for the overall lead. Tim and I both have the Dolphins as our Omaha Steaks premium pick of the week. It lost. -12 did not hit, although it really should have hit. But Geoff won his with San Francisco last week. So congratulations, Geoff. The biggest moment of your week, hitting your Omaha Steaks premium pick of the week.
Yes, that overshadowed lots.
Tampa had 3 shots to cover that. 2 extremely good
Yes,
shots
you're
to
right.
cover that.
They did.
Oh, it was such, Pat and I kind of got robbed on ours, and you sort of stole yours, but them's the breaks.
Yeah, if you honestly look at my record in the games, you would know that I'm kind of that one from them breaks. But yeah, that was stupid. I had a good day on Sunday.
I would say so.
Yeah, I know, and I had a kid. But other than the Chargers game, everything went well for me on Sunday.
You got to see the full press conference after the game.
Yeah, that came across my feed. Did you guys see it? He got
I watched it.
feisty.
I went the distance with it because I
Yeah,
was
what
like,
a
if they're
little
putting
dip.
this online, it must be good.
Yeah, what a little dipshit. No,
The
the
defense is doing a
post-game
lot of good
pressers
things.
are always available, but he got testy, and Popper got Lynn testy. What I would give for I cannot believe I offered to I told you guys I'd go bald. I would bick this thing to like a 0 naked, this thing, if they kept Anthony Lynn around after that season. And what I'd give in hindsight to have just stayed the course. Like to have just stayed the course there with Anthony Lynn and yeah, I think Shane Steichen was part of that. What I wish we had stayed the course. But that dipshit after the game, 2 things. He says he doesn't care about the fans.
I heard that.
Let me tell you this, pal. This is not like when Dumbo sits up at the podium, McCarthy, and says we don't care about fantasy football. This is not that, Brandon. This is not that. You are not allowed to say you do not care about the fans. You are not allowed to say that. You're not allowed. I was in such a peaceful place Sunday night. I had a healthy baby boy. Mama was a champ. Okay? Life is perfect. Life is perfect. I wish the guy caught the ball. I wish we didn't go full Chargers, a penalty on 3rd and 20, 3 drop touchdowns and a fumble in the red zone, like a full-on Charger. Do I wish we didn't do that? Did I mention Fleetwood went like a Fleetwood set? The Chargers went full Charger. Fleetwood did a pure Tommy. It was like a perfect day for me to welcome someone into this world. Like that is as consistent as my world can get. But I was blessed. Like nothing can bring me down. And he said that, and it didn't bring me down, but I just I didn't even have an emotion to it. You cannot say that. You cannot say that. That will be addressed. That will be addressed this summer in a bumfuck town in Ohio that has a museum. That will be addressed. Even if he's not the coach anymore, that will be addressed. I actually get a little emotional, like recounting it, because it didn't bother me then, but talking about it now really bothers me. You're not allowed to say that. If your father kept crashing the car at 80 years old and you and your siblings and the grandkids sat him down and wanted to take the car keys away, and every time he got in behind that wheel, he crashed the car and did harm to himself and did harm to others and was essentially a real life liability. Like, you're allowed to ask him, why are you doing that, man? Like, maybe it's time to stop. And he gets so offended because now it's the play calling thing. It started after the Detroit. It started a few weeks ago, but it got into real high gear after the Detroit thing. Like, buddy, maybe you could relinquish the play, like anything, right? Anything. He forbids, and now he's like, do not ask me again. Yeah, that was the end. That's the end of the road, man. There's no coming back. You'll have to run the table here. And I think it shows how unserious we are. I will bring this up. I will say it to their face. If you don't think I will, you literally do not know me. I will say it to their face. You are unserious. We are unserious people to allow him to stay another day. We are unserious people. One Nepo baby to another. I'll stare him in the fucking eye and tell him how unserious he is.
Tim,
It's unfathomable how we've lost these. It's the same fucking story. Justin was incredible. I love when he runs. He melts my heart when he runs. There's not a Packer fan in the world who will think he's overrated, just like there's not a Detroit Lion fan in the world who will think he is overrated. You just got to see it and watch it for 4 quarters. But we are unserious people. That's just the truth of it. I don't have anything else to say. It was a full gamut.
well,
On 3rd and 20, you stupid fuck. Like, that bugs me more than the drop pass, which is its own thing. Yeah. It is what it is, I guess.
all right, I'll need you to turn your mic up a little bit so we can continue doing the show. But I did want to mention that Tim hit his teaser last week. 5-legger. Congratulations.
Yay!
And
Yes.
now we get to talk about the Jets, the Black Friday game. Miami at the New York Jets. Do you think Amazon wants their money back? Can you return this game to them?
They should have had the ability to flex out of this game. The second Aaron went out, this game lost a lot. It's still going to do huge numbers.
Oh, yeah.
I have no doubt. I mean, like, all the Jets games without Rodgers this year have done big numbers in big spots, so I'm sure this will be no different. It's going to be an ugly game. I don't know, though.
It's 10 points.
It seems like it's 10 points. It's getting chilly on the East Coast. Tua does not do well in the cold. I mean, if Geoff's theory of backup quarterbacks is correct,
Good teams.
and I think the Jets have a fantastic defense and they have good offensive players who are being held back by awful quarterback play and a bad line. But Boyle can't be worse than Zach. Like, it's not possible. So, we'll cover the game. I think we're looking at like a relatively-ish low scoring. Let's say 20-12 for the Dolphins. I think the Jets are to cover.
What was the opener when you guys did the show?
7.5, I think.
Yeah, it was 7.5 or 8. It was 7.5 because I guessed 8 and you won with 7.5.
Yeah, my dad said a couple times this week because I didn't really see. I took in as less football than I probably have on any Sunday of my life, other than watching the full Chargers game on my phone.
Well, priorities.
Yeah, no, listen, everyone's because she's lying. Nothing I can do. And it wasn't nothing. That was all like pregame in terms of her experience. It's a tough one.
I hope Tim Boyle just throws all over that arrogant Dolphin defense, which is really not nearly as talented as people think it is.
See, this sucks for Tim because even when the season like went down, he sort of earmarked the Denver game and this game.
Yes.
Like, if 2 games could be Tim's season, the day after the Jets, that week 1 where, they thought there'd be 0-0 pulse, there were 2 games that, like, in speaking to Tim, that seemed like it was all he cared about. Am I right about that?
Yes, 100%.
Home, is it going to be cold enough to really bother the Dolphins? How many is Tim Boyle going to be better than Zach? That's the crazy thing.
Can't be worse.
But I don't know how could he be. He could be just as bad. He could be marginally better, which doesn't help you much either.
I don't know. I think the team there's a chance the team might actually lift emotionally from not having to deal with Zach.
I'm going to take the Dolphins. I've taken them probably 80% of the time this year. Good teams, bad teams. I mean, I don't really know what happened last week. other than I kept seeing how close it was at all times.
But okay,
but
I can tell you what happened in that game. The game was close on the scoreboard, not even remotely close on the field. The Dolphins steamrolled them all the way down the field and then just didn't score points.
And then because they were playing the Raiders, they felt comfortable kicking field goals that like in 80% of opponents, they go for it probably.
Correct.
Yeah. That's what I just saw, the drive stalling, and they were just happy to kick the points. I'm taking Miami. They'll win by, this is going to be like, even if Miami plays bad, it's 17-6.
The home team has won 7 of the past 9 in this series, Tim, as you probably know, and 8 of the past 11 have been decided by a single possession. I just think a lot points to the Jets here, except what we talk about every single week when we watch the games and what gets to the Jets defense, and especially what the Miami defense does well. They don't do a lot well. Like, they're not especially great against the run, but they bring a lot of pressure. And against the Jets' terrible offensive line, that should really help. Although you've called out Jalen Ramsey for being the worst corner in football since he's returned, he has a 0 passer rating against. So that's pretty.
No, but look, the Jets defense should, when the Dolphins go up against good defenses, all season they've been in trouble. The Jets are the best unit on the field is Jets defense. And although it's close because the Dolphins offense numerically good, the Jets still have the best unit of the 4. They're going to cause havoc in that secondary, and they're going to cause havoc at the line. Miami's going to have to work for this.
Yeah, Miami. I mean, what the Jets have done at home versus really
and it's at home.
Yeah, at home versus Hurts, versus Mahomes, versus Herbert, versus Allen, all at home. Nothing looks pretty. And the thing about Miami is it always, it's unfair because I honestly didn't see Sunday. It always looks pretty for them.
It did not. So when you're watching like Tua, you can usually tell within the first 5 minutes whether it's going to be, oh no, he's on. And he's just going to nail Tyreek down the field every single time. Or he just has these throws that should be intercepted. You're like, what the fuck is he doing on those? It was one of those games on the weekend. Almost like he looked in the first half against Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami. Has your dad started Christmas decorating yet?
No, not yet. Not at all. But I'll tell you this. If the Dolphins can only barely muster 20 points against the Raiders defense, they're going to be in tough scoring points.
Yeah, I see this setting up a lot like the Eagles defense is pretty good. Then they've shut down some pretty good offenses so far this season because they can get to the quarterback. I mean, how has the Jets' pressure been recently? Not because it was pretty good at the beginning of the year. How's it been like the last few games?
Last couple of games are starting to pick up again.
All right,
they're getting pressure on it, but as long as the offense doesn't ruin the game for them, I think it's going to be a tight game. I still would pick the Dolphins to win it, but I hate that thing. God, I hate that thing. It's a game I think we should get close, but I think the Dolphins will end up prevailing.
See, you're so pro decoration, seasonal decor.
That's seasonal. That's just a snowman in Miami, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it's seasonal.
If you were a snowman, you wouldn't be a Miami fan because if you went to a game, you'd melt. Now, how does that make any sense? It's an absurd ornament. Absurd.
Absurd, is it?
Absurd?
Yes, it is. Like, they should be Vikings fans and Lions fans and Bills fans and Browns fans where it's cold and there's snow and they could cheer on their team.
Are you talking about snowmen in general?
Yes, I'm talking about snowmen. They couldn't go to a Dolphins game and cheer them on in Miami. They would melt. They'd be a puddle.
Maybe Frosty's dad liked a division rival.
Well, then Frosty's dad could have cheered for any other of the cold weather teams. It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
So back to my original point here about the Jets defense. And this is why I think that I'm going to take Miami to cover the number. I don't like it. I'm not going to bet it. And I can see the Jets winning the game, to be perfectly honest with you. If Tua has a bad game, this is the sort of defense that brings 2 to the house kind of thing. Or they set them up with short enough fields, sneak a touchdown somewhere. It's like 13-10 for the Jets. I can most definitely see that. But I like to think that McDaniel's a good enough coach to understand how you beat the Jets just by running the ball as much as possible. And those like Tyreek slips out of the backfield could be potent, Tim, against New York.
We'll see. Tyreek's the least. Honestly, Tyreek's the least of my concerns.
Oh, so
Waddle is
Tyreek-
far more of a concern.
What-
I'm more concerned about Waddle than I am about Tyreek.
Why are you more concerned about Waddle?
Short passes in the middle. That's
Waddle's
what
done
keeps the
nothing
Jets
this
up.
year. Trust me.
Short little pass. I do too.
But they don't
short
ship,
little
but they don't
passes in
throw.
the middle. That's
they
what gets-
don't throw the short little passes over the middle to Jalen Waddle. He's running like deeper in routes now. Like his ADOT's
and that
pretty
hasn't
high.
been effective. And that hasn't been effective.
I
Like, when he
understand
was
because
best- he was best when he used
everything
the short routes.
that you're talking about with Jalen Waddle, what he did last year, are just Tyreek routes now.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about it. Tyreek's the least of my concerns.
Yeah. I have enough confidence to Pat's point that like the season has been fun and it's been a showcase for Miami, that they're like, obviously they could break huge touchdowns. There's so many game breakers on that Dolphins offense. He's just watching the tape from like the last 6 weeks, and all you got to do is play smart, not turn it over. Chargers do nothing. They win by 21 versus the Jets. Like, you don't have to do a lot. You just don't do anything that gives them momentum. And that's as silly as, I don't mean silly, but that also means, you know what? It's 4th and 2.
Yeah,
I'm just kicking
punt.
the field goal because it's the Jets.
Yeah, we're punting. There'll be more. I would guess there's more Dolphins punts in this game than any other game this season.
Yeah, you're right. Punt it. Make this guy go 85 yards. We'll get the ball back. We'll break a play on the next couple drives.
Maybe that's the bet for this game. Over punts. I don't even know who Miami's punter is.
Doesn't work much.
No. Great gig if you can get it. Let's move to Sunday. Once again, if you are looking for the Thanksgiving games, tune in live to Mayo Media Network, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. And let me know in the comment section if you do want me to put it up on the pod feed, because I'll have the best bet show released on the pod feed, like sometime during the first Thanksgiving game for the next day, or maybe I'll release it that night. I'm not quite sure when I'm putting that one out, but we'll have it already recorded, so we'll chuck that out. Just if you want it on the pod feed, let me know. And the answer is probably yes. There'll be a Cust Corner in there. It'll be fun. And you're still driving in the morning. Maybe you can listen to it, whatever it is. New Orleans and Atlanta. Atlanta is a 1-point dog at home. You got Ritami Timbers back under center for them. It's looking like Derek Carr, although he has not yet passed concussion protocol. But that just could be a semantics thing because they were coming off bye week. So it could be Jameis. I don't think there's that big of a difference, to be perfectly honest with you, and how the outlook goes. Probably more picks from Jameis, but probably more completions down the field. So you take the good with the bad. I'm going to say Saints, Tim, against your mighty Falcons.
I totally disagree. I really like Atlanta in this game, I have to say.
Well, you like Atlanta every week.
I think having Ritter been benched, now coming back, sort of will have corrected some of the mistakes that we've seen. I think he will have had a chance to sort of learn some lessons. And I expect him to come back from the bye week a little bit rejuvenated. I just think Atlanta's got more skill players up and down the field. They get to play at home. The spread is super short. Whether it's Derek Carr or whether it's Jameis, I think they both bring real problems in terms of like turnovers or inability. If it's Jameis, he's going to turn the ball over, and if it's Carr, he's not going to push the ball down the field. So both coming off bye. This is a pivotal game in the NFC South. I really like Atlanta here so much that the Falcons are the first part of a tease. We're going to tease the Falcons all the way up to 7 points.
I think that's a good teaser game, to be perfectly honest. This feels like a field goal game either way.
7.5. Sorry, 7.5 points.
You're doing
I misspoke.
You're doing a 6.5.
6.5 point tease.
6.5 point tease. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I don't believe in any of these teams. I hate both these teams. I think they're both shitty. So I'll take the team with the slightly better defense, Geoff, in New Orleans. Geoff, you're on mute.
The one thing the New Orleans unit is better at, too, is against the run. I'm taking New Orleans, but this is more like a full season bias bet that is coming head-to-head at this moment. So you don't need to read too much into me taking the Saints here. But I do trust them against the shitty Falcons. There's probably one coach who might actually be dumber than the guy who coaches the Chargers. It's Arthur Smith.
Maybe that'll be the trade. Maybe they'll trade Staley for Arthur Smith.
No, I don't want that.
Oh, okay. Every time you go on mute, your stuff goes down. Maybe that's what it is. Can you turn yourself up again? Give it the old
Just think
wiki
it's
wiki.
I'm having a wire problem.
There we go. Do I need to get you a new cable? I am coming to Toronto next week.
Yeah, but I'll show Paul off air. It's not a very familiar cable that seems to be the problem here.
So it's not the one that's plugged into the back of your microphone?
It's the one that's plugged into the back of a little sound box.
Oh, do you still have that China sound box that I got you?
I could be onto a different sound box, but it could also be China.
Yeah, I'll get you the red Scarlet one like I have
They
at my house.
infiltrate us with Halloween inflatables and shitty soundboard cheap boxes.
Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is now a 1-point dog at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who ran Tim, it really looked like they were going to somehow cover that game against the Browns despite not doing anything. When we were watching, It's like, how is it 10-10 all of a sudden?
And on the show, we got the cover.
On the show, yeah, the +4 came through for the Steelers when we did the show, and then they went off as 1.5-point favorites, which is crazy.
Well, I keep saying that I'm going to pick them until they don't cover. They covered for us last week, so I'm picking them again. Not that I have any particular belief in them. I don't know enough about Jake Browning one way or the other. But, the heck with it. I'll take the Steelers. I know Geoff's going to take the Bengals. That they totally fit his theory of backup QB on a good team. So,
yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals in this game because I think that they're still better. He still has Jamar Chase. Higgins might end up coming back. Jake Browning, I think, is the son of former Lou Marsh Award winner in 1990, Kurt Browning, Geoff. So that's always nice. Nice connection there.
is that real? Is
No.
he actually Kurt Browning's son?
No, he's not Kurt Browning's son.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I'm not falling for this.
Kurt Browning was the first
I
skater
follow enough-
ever to land a quadruple jump in competition.
I knew that.
I follow enough Canadian football. I don't necessarily mean CFL. I mean like Canadian football, like reporter. I'd have known if that was the bloodline. So I'm happy Tim took the bait, not me. This is I ended up betting Cleveland on Sunday based on my theory. Good team back up. I tailed Pizzola with his gold pick on your best bet show as he made that case. I'm a lot more worried about this one though. Like it is a clear fits into the really good team, backup quarterback, first game with the backup where he actually gets to practice. I don't know why, but the eyeball test tells me I don't want to go anywhere near this guy. But I am a sucker for one of my favorite angles in betting in the NFL. So I have no choice. I will take the Bengals. I don't believe the Bengals are getting enough points here though. I mean that.
I believe by the time Sunday comes, this line will be bigger.
Yeah, it really should be. So I'm a sucker and I'm beholden to one of my favorite theories. I should pivot off it. You know what?
You already
am a
did. You took
square.
Miami. You took Miami in the spot.
I'm
where
a
it
square,
broke
but
your rule.
sometimes I'm a sophisticated square. I'm taking Pittsburgh here.
Disappointed in you.
No, you're gonna see. Pittsburgh's gonna crush them, I think.
I'll see, will I?
Did you know that Kurt Browning won 4 Canadian figure skating championships and he beat Elvis Stoiko 4 times in a row before Elvis Stoiko won 5 times in a row?
I didn't know those numbers. I know that Browning won a silver medal at the 1988 Olympics.
I know a lot of
he
silver
did,
medals.
that is not
Could
true.
Never win gold
That
either
is-
of them.
I mean,
right?
you might know that, but that is not true. He did not ever medal at the Olympics.
Yeah, he never medaled.
No, I
Stoiko
thought
got
he-
a silver
who-
in Nagano.
Stoiko
Oh.
got the silver.
Who got the silver medal in Calgary? Oh, goodness. Okay.
Was it Brian Orser?
Maybe. Or it may have been a female skater.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah, it was
Kurt
the
Browning.
woman. It was
Kurt
the- I
Browning.
think it was a bronze, Tim.
Kurt Browning won the world championship 4 times, but never medaled in the
Okay.
Olympics in 3 goes.
Yeah.
Paul,
Canada's got a
Paul's
lot of- Canada
got
was
the hand
really
up here.
good at that.
Probably
Now-
a big
and-
Kurt Browning fan.
And now Kurt Browning is shilling reverse mortgages to people. Times are tough.
I mean, not for him.
Have you guys
And he
seen that?
retired from his circuit show skating.
Stars on
last
Ice.
year. Yeah.
He was on some special my wife was watching. I think it was with Jan Arden. It was like a Christmas special where someone was no, it wasn't Jan Arden. It was some Canadian comedian who wanted to do something with figure skating. And Kurt Browning was on it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Not to
who's this
say
for
a
besides you?
Not to say Kurt Browning wouldn't be very well known today.
He's
if
not
he
well known
existed.
today.
No, I just mean, but you have to understand, in the era where you didn't get to pick what you wanted to watch on TV, and it was all just in your face. It's not like today of choosing your own adventure. Kurt Browning was everywhere when we were kids.
Geoff is right.
I felt like Elvis Stoiko was bigger because he did ninja moves on the ice.
They were kind of very similar. This is probably the worst. If there's an award for worst conversation on the show all year, this might beat out DeMar Hamlin for the 100th time. DeMar Hamlin, this conversation we're having right now. I'm taking. You know
Yeah,
what?
you people
Sorry.
want different conversation topics. You got it. We're going to talk about figure skaters from the 1980s and 1990s.
From Canada.
Yeah.
I'm taking Bengals. I'm too much of a square. I thought I could be
He
sophisticated.
just said Pittsburgh
No.
was going to kill them.
I can't go, but I'm beholden to my theory.
So I,
Shit.
you know,
I
I
have
write
no
these.
idea who Jeff's taking in this game.
I-
No
Bengals.
idea.
It's just a big scratch on the piece of paper now. So
The Bengals.
All right. Carolina and Tennessee. Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorite at home in a game that literally dozens may watch. Do you think anyone shows up to the stadium to watch this game, Geoff? We're just empty. It'll be like that Rock and Mankind halftime at the Super Bowl match, but it's with the Panthers and Titans.
Yeah, that was a good. In theory, that was awesome.
Halftime heat?
Yeah. I respect what they were trying to do. They were running so pure at the time. They're like, we could pull this off.
I think it was
And I don't know if
successful.
they did,
I
but-
think it was pretty successful. I'm going to take the Titans here. Carolina has a terrible run defense. And if there's a game where Derrick Henry gets off the mat or Spears ends up exploding for the first time this season, just breaks off a big one, it's got to be this game. Carolina's Bryce Young throws the same pick six, it feels, every single week. It's exactly the same route. It's to Mingo every single time. Take that one out of the repertoire of the 11-yard out on the weak side or on the strong side of the field where the DB just looks at him and just slowly walks up and he throws it right to him. And there's no one else there.
So I have never seen, and I know it isn't all that matters, and maybe it's more trouble than it's worth based on my analysis of Sam Darnold and ceiling plays and me thinking, no, look at those plays. He'll be fine. I have never seen a quarterback taken first overall in my life that through 11 weeks, I don't even know if we have one ceiling play. That's scary as shit. I'll take Tennessee as zero money. Shouldn't even watch it.
Tim?
I will take the Panthers. The Panthers still have something desperate to play for. As things get tighter and tighter and the odds get bigger and bigger that the Panthers are going to have the first overall pick slot. This is one of the few games left on their schedule that they could, legitimately claim to have a chance to win at. And we watched enough of that Titans game on Sunday when it was on. They just don't have any spark. They're just done. So I don't know. Without much
J.C. Horn
confidence,
finally back?
without much confidence, I will take the Panthers.
Because all Levis likes to do is throw deep, right? He'll just chuck. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's Moonraker out there, but he's just going to be handing the ball off, and Carolina's going to have no answers.
I agree with that. It's funny. The only reason I would pick Carolina is Tim's reasoning. Is that the front office is desperate. I don't know that can help them on the field.
Yeah, I was gonna say the front office. I mean, they're very desperate, so they're gonna start winning games now. This is the same front office that told their GM that they had to draft Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. That's what the owner was telling them. So I don't know if the owner is making the best decisions here.
Yeah, I can't. There's no football reason to pick them. But the reason I would pick them would be the one that Tim gave. But I can't do that. Tim did that. I don't want to do that. I'm picking Tennessee.
It's funny because this is in contention for my Omaha Steaks premium pick of the week, only because where Tennessee got beaten so badly last week, if they were just competitive against Jacksonville, this line's probably like 6. Like Jackson,
I don't know if there's any value ever on a Titans game, to be perfectly honest with you.
I mean, Carolina's
awful. Tennessee is awful.
Tennessee's
They're
not
both awful.
Tennessee's not awful. This is the same team.
Yeah, they're awful.
The same team. Didn't they beat Baltimore earlier this year?
Like in week 3 or something. Like
Tennessee's
that was forever ago.
Tennessee's beaten teams this year. Decent teams. They beat Cincinnati. Maybe this only can beat the NFC North. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, they beat the Falcons.
Yeah, that's a good team.
Competitive against the of all the teams that I just listed. The Falcons are the good team, huh?
Well, I like that Falcons.
Oh no, they did not beat the Ravens. They lost by a touchdown to the Ravens. They got smoked by the Browns.
Yeah, that game was in London.
They
That's
beat the Chargers, is who it was.
Well, get in line.
Yeah, seriously.
Lots of trash teams are doing that.
Bucks and Colts. Colts like sneakily in the playoff hunt here, despite not really being good. But they're 2.5-point favorites at home. The Bucks are 7-3 ATS, by the way. It's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I would not have guessed that. Looking at, and they really, last week they really did themselves in. They could be sitting here 8-2. I'm going to take the Colts purely on it. They're coming off a bye at home, and basically the books are telling you this is a coin flip game. And I think the Colts are slightly better. So I will take the Colts.
The coin is going to take the Colts as well. What is it that I watch the Bucks every week, Geoff, and I can't figure out what they do well and what they do poorly. They're just kind of mediocre at everything.
Yeah, but in that division, that's keeps you right in the mix till the very end.
Yeah, they have the third.
But that is not helpful for capping this game against the Colts, though.
They have the third ranked rushing defense in the league, if that helps. That's good against Indianapolis, who desperately wants to run the ball as much as possible.
I'm going to take Tampa. I hate this pick, though. What a shitty game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not on Monday Night Football.
I don't know. The Colts, were the Colts just on bye? Last we saw them was Germany, where
yeah, they're on bye after
the Patriots were so bad you don't even know how to judge that. Essentially, what you watched that morning,
and they barely won, by the way.
Yeah, the Dolphins barely beat the Colts or the Patriots. Sorry, so like that doesn't mean much.
Yeah, that was different though.
Yeah, of course we can't hold Miami to any standards.
No, it was week 2 that they still were healthier, especially on defense.
Yeah.
No, they had
Judon,
Judon, they had the rookie, the corner.
So good.
No, listen, I'm wrong on the Patriots, but they were a very different team week 2 than they are right now.
Sure.
Like they're a different level of bad
That's true.
now.
That's true.
So I think it was Brady night. Like it was our home opener. Like I'm yeah, maybe I'm being too easy on Miami, but that's not a spot I'm picking on Miami from. I'm taking Tampa. I don't even have an opinion.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa as well. Just give me Baker over Minshew. I think he's slightly better. And in a
really
game,
need them to lose this game though for the season win total unders. Like I need them to,
but I need them to win to keep my Bucks to win the division bet alive. Although they kind of can, I feel like they control their own destiny in a lot of ways in that division because they haven't played. They did play the Falcons. That's right. They lost.
I'm sure they do. It's too early with them only being. Yeah, I'm sure they do control their own destiny.
They probably do. Yeah, they definitely do control their own destiny. And if they win, Someone's winning the Saints Falcons game, so
well, their
Not
hinge
necessarily.
their hinge game is in 3 weeks. They're at the Falcons in 3 weeks. If they win that game, they still have the Panthers twice. It's the Panthers they haven't played yet. So if they win the
They
Falcons
better
game,
beat the Panthers.
yeah, well, they could lose to the Panthers. They're the Bucks. But let's just say they sweep the Panthers. They can have 3 wins there, all within division. They've already beat the Saints. Then they get the Saints again in week number 17. So they're like, if they just win those games, they win the division.
hearing
They
the
don't-
schedule makes me annoyed about my win total under, but I knew they had an easy schedule when I bet that, so it's my own fault.
Yeah, but every team in that division has an easy schedule because they all play each other.
I know, but now they haven't even played Carolina yet, Pat. Like,
What?
that's not when you said that, am I like, oh shit.
Well, you just told me that Carolina's, they're going to be extra motivated to not be the
No, that
worst
was
team in football.
Tim.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
actually,
wanna
that, no,
take
but no, that
credit
was a
for
that was a good point from Geoff. I agree with him.
Cam still hasn't realized that, by the way. And I showed you that guy who got mad at me because we were making fun of Cam for that
Love that.
in the longest run-on sentence I've ever seen. Very, very odd stuff. So Tampa for Geoff and I. Geoff, you and I have picked the same in every game so far. Indy for Tim and the coin.
You took the Bengals?
Yeah.
I'm not switching.
Jeff doesn't know who he picked in that game, so that's why he's wondering who you picked.
Ah, yeah. Turn yourself up again. We're losing your volume. New England at the Giants. Oh my God. New England is a 3.5 point favorite on the road. In real time, they're down to 3. So this game keeps like jumping back and forth between 3.5 and 3. If the Giants don't win last week, Tim, what do you think the number is?
Not much more, maybe 4.5. You can't lay because no one's going to bet the Patriots minus much more than 4.5. With who's starting? Is it Bailey Zappi?
According to Bill Belichick in his press conference today, he has told everyone on the team, be prepared to play.
And the graphic has Bill Belichick having a migraine trying to make that decision.
I mean, I would recommend just run the Wildcat the whole game. See where that gets you.
Well, there's talk of using Malik Cunningham, signing him from the practice squad, so technically they could do that.
Do that. I don't know, man. I just think it's malpractice to lay 3.5 points with this Patriots team. I think you might as well this betting the Patriots is the granny burning her cash in the fireplace gif in real life. So I'll take the Giants.
I'm going to take New England, Geoff. I think I don't want to say we're getting a gift here that Tommy DeVito played well last week, but I think enough. And Tim's right. No one wants to bet on the Patriots. I don't know if there's going to get any real money from me, but in terms of a 3.5, seems like way too much. But then we can go back to if there's still one thing Belichick can kind of do, it's really beat up on the world's worst quarterbacks and make them look even more foolish than they normally do. And this guy might be the worst quarterback we've seen play multiple games in 10 years.
It's unfortunate. When the morning slate ends, I will still be one game back of you, regardless of how you do. We are the exact same every game. We'll see what happens when we chat Thanksgiving. I don't even know what to say about this game. I'm just taking the Patriots. You kind of made that Belichick quarterback point. Looking above at this entire slate, Pat, this is the worst slate of football games. We've talked about every game other than Houston and the Jags now, which is probably the big screen game with the Burrow injury. Anyone, like, I just had a son last Sunday. My wife's great. I got support system. The kids do activities. I'm thinking, can I get out and like watch ball with the boys on Sunday? Like, that would be a big ask. But I love to do it, but now I'm a dad of 3. Like, the numbers have changed. The defense is changed. But I don't know. This is not, you can't abandon your family for this slate of pathetic 1:00 football.
I've abandoned my child.
We need you to turn your volume down now, Geoff.
I'm
It's not that
sorry.
bad. Just
And
a
the-
It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
little-
Not by a ton. You don't need to be sorry.
Just a little
Just
modulated.
a
but like
little
not that
down.
bad.
You're a bit fried coming through now.
Give us a count to 10.
Yeah, just say something and then we can figure it out from there.
1, 2, 3,
Up.
4, 5. Bill Belichick. Rumors he'd be a Chargers coach. I think
Up.
he's going to
Up.
be the Commanders coach.
A little bit louder. Try again.
Now go.
Total reset. I could name you 7 guys who won't be Chargers next year.
Up again.
Up again. Keep going. Like when you turned it down, you really turned it down, huh?
Are you still going up?
That's
the modulator.
Tim is mocking
Okay,
me. I can't even see his face.
that's way too loud now.
Ugh. It's like I don't have these tech problems.
There. Stop. I think you're good now.
My board dropped the other day, and I don't know. I've on the fly setup at the moment.
You're too hot again now. You need to go a bit down.
What
Did you
is
drop
going
it like
on
Quentin
here?
Johnson?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know which drop
You know what?
was
That guy's
worse?
going to make a lot of good plays. He's
Which
made good
drop was
plays,
worse?
and he's going to continue to make good plays for this team.
Oh, what a piece of yeah. Oh, you guys saw him in training camp. Yeah.
That was
Obviously-
great. You guys saw training camp too, right? And you know what? Also, the defense is making a lot of great plays out there. I'm seeing a lot of great progress
Tim,
with the
but
defense, even if
Tim-
you're not seeing it.
Tim, he's referring to training camp. Oh, so training camp where this guy was going up against the worst secondary ever? Like clearly. Oh my God. I'm sorry about that. And I don't know that the guy on the Chiefs had a bad drop last night.
And Marquez
which
Valdez
made-
Scantling.
which gave me like PTSD for my drop on Sunday. What
You
a
think your team
ball,
drop? I
man.
mean, they showed a graphic that the Chiefs are the team with the most drops. Unshockingly, and Alan Lazard responsible for like 15 of these. The Jets are second with drops.
Alan Lazard drops every pass thrown his way.
He
Everyone.
really does. He's got to have like 10 drops this season if he has one.
Okay, don't worry. Herbert sucks in the fourth quarter. Couldn't make a throw for his life.
That last drive was bad. I mean, he made the good throw, but then just on the fourth down, I know he had no time. You got to get that ball out somewhere if you see it coming. It's fourth down.
It's all a blur. But yeah, he's definitely need an upgrade there.
Yeah, that's happened a few times. It happened in the Tennessee game as well, where it was fourth down. It's like you got to get the ball out. And it didn't happen. He was
Well, on the bright side, we'll all get to see it this week in prime time. When whatever happens in the fourth quarter happens.
I suppose that's true. If you want something fun to watch, you may. My former, or not my former guy, still my guy, Sean McCormick works at the homestand now, and they were doing a live watch along of the Chiefs and Eagles game, and he gave out one bet for the game, and it was a same game parlay: Marquez Valdez Scantling over yardage with any time touchdown. And to watch him watch that in real time is just amazing. It's a pretty brutal beat. Jacksonville at Houston, the jewel of the early slate of games. The Texans are a 1.5-point dog at home against the Jags. The Jags probably played their best game of the year last week. They looked really good. Offensively, defensively, it really does seem like Calvin Ridley's a different player when Zay Jones is actually on the field. And I forget who it was who tweeted out the PFF stats from it, that he just has more room to operate. He's pressed less when Zay Jones is out there, so he's just opened more. So therefore, he's getting the ball a lot more, and that's a real game changer for them when they can run their offense at maximum efficiency. It's been week 1 and week 11, and that's realistically the 2 games where Lawrence has looked the best too. I don't know what to make of this Texans team now. I was on them last week when everyone kind of liked Arizona as an underdog, and Stroud played his worst half of the year against Arizona, but the defense did step up and contained Arizona's offense in a lot of ways. Maybe it's more the defense, Tim, that I can't really reckon with when it comes to the Texans. I can't figure out if they're good, average, or bad because they give up a ton of points.
I don't think you can trust them. I don't think you can trust either team. So we're simply asked to pick who we think is going to win. That's essentially what this spread means to us. And I don't know. I think this is a get serious game. As much as the Texans story has been nice, I really don't think the Texans are going to vie to actually win the division. I don't think Stroud's really going to be an MVP. I think this is a game where Jacksonville sort of takes the division by the throat, and this is a great spot to do it in. So I like the Jaguars.
Okay.
I agree with Tim.
The Jags have a top 10 defense in both rushing and passing. Like, they're one of the league's better defenses right now. Like, that is the one thing you can kind of count on every single week. Someone pointed this out to me. I don't know if it's true or not because I didn't go back to check it. That the Jags record this season and like the week by week wins and losses is exactly the inverse of what happened last year. So if that's the case, they're just going to lose the rest of their games.
Well, yeah, maybe so. They're a very balanced team, offensively and defensively. They're a dangerous team come January because of that. They don't do anything poorly. They're a team to watch out for.
So you guys are both taking Jacksonville, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on it, but I'm going to try to pick the winner here and not overthink it.
I'm going to pick Houston. They beat them already once this year. They beat them in Jacksonville. Maybe Stroud's just able to handle this defense, and it's not going to be that big of a problem. And I thought it was really funny. There was a point of the game last week, I forget how deep into it was, where the Texans had not run on third down all game, and they picked up a bunch of third downs. They just said, you know what, we're going to pass on every third down. Yet they ran a fourth down earlier, like late in the first quarter, earlier in the second quarter, I forget when it was, and they decided to run on that play and got absolutely stuffed. So I think that they're not going to turn to the run game as much as you may think. And like, if it's not working, it'll be like that Tampa game where it just didn't work against Tampa. They're like, screw it, we're not running anymore. We're just going to throw 70 times during this game. I can see that happening. If that happens, I think they have a good shot to win. So I think this is a close game. I'll take the home team. I'll take the team getting points and move along my way. Well, that brings us to the midway point of the show, meaning it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
So here's the deal. We're getting into the holiday season. Despite what Geoff might think, Black Friday is actually a very nice tradition, and it's nice to see when people are out getting gifts for their family, despite Geoff thinking that it's bad, consumerism, et cetera, et cetera.
Dude, you're a mark. Sorry to interrupt. I don't. You're a mark. Anyone who, sure, Black Friday, there's a sale. Only the biggest losers, duds, are still buying things retail. Like, I was in the store shopping for my kids. You look at it. Amazon, like, everything is at least $10, $15 cheaper. Like, it's common sense. I am sorry, but only a mark is actually buying things in those stores.
So we have
you have no idea how much discount people are able to get on the actual Black Friday.
Yeah,
Cheaper
on
than
the
you can
actual
get
Black Friday, sure, you can wake up, you can stand in the cold. That's like the one day.
Don't even wake up. Like, go there at like 12:30 at night and wait in line till they open at 3 a.m. Like, I think there's something ennobling about that. But anyway.
There's nothing noble about that. I mean, you're just wasting your time. You do not value your time if you have to like go wait 8 hours to get.
Well, make your point, because I have a point to make.
My point is, Geoff, we have a friend who is opposed to technology as much as Tim is, and he's kind of turned the corner on that now that his girlfriend has shown him like how to use Amazon, aka she does it for him, and now he doesn't have to leave his house, and he's pretty pumped about it. And Tim's argument back is that standing in line is actually really good because you can do things while you're waiting, standing in line, like checking emails.
So I have 2 points to make. First, after he says he's made this turn around the corner, there's no, oh, congratulations, glad to see you see that. Isn't this great? It was gee, you didn't get that clue over the last 5 years when we told you? To which I said to him, see, you might as well stick to your guns, because these people will give you no credit at all for changing your mind.
I mean,
so, like,
despite being a lunatic, I don't think he was looking for credit for using Amazon for the first time.
Well, he liked my comment. So,
yeah, but does he
what
like
does
the savings?
My point was, this is the response he got. Was not oh, congratulations, yes, he isn't that great. It was a snarky response that just justifies why you might as well just stick to your guns on this.
Yeah,
Secondly,
the credit is in saving $50.
If you say so. His wasn't about how much cheaper it was. His was about His point was about convenience. Anyway, secondly, and more importantly, I am pro lines generally. Here, I think that lines have, for the most part, in many situations, both direct and indirect benefits. The direct benefit is, as I said, I like to be able, this gives me an opportunity while I'm doing something to do something else, to check my emails, to check sports scores, to send out texts, to give me a moment to sort of catch my breath when, the pace of life seems incredibly fast. This is an excellent opportunity to do what it is that you're doing by being in line and, and getting it done. So I'm a fan of most lines. Secondly, I think it has an indirect effect. I think it teaches patience. I think it teaches us that you shouldn't get everything you want exactly when you want it. I actually think it teaches a societal lesson about the value and the virtue of being patient, being organized, waiting your turn. I think those are some virtues that we have certainly lost over the last 10 or 15 years. And I think that there have been clear attendant consequences of that fact of, sort of impetulant demanding for things is the second that we want it, rather than learning to build our character a little bit by, delaying what we want exactly when we want it, because other people want these things too. And we learn to be to be grown-ups, to be big boys and girls and wait in line like grown-ups. So it has a positive societal knock-on effect, and it has the effect of, giving it's an opportunity to just take a breath and relax. At the same time, I got no problem with, for example, at Disneyland, the people who buy the fast passes to skip a line. Not all lines are good. There are instances where lines are extremely aggravating. I get that. I appreciate that. I'm not here to make a blanket statement that I'm in favor of lines in every circumstance or situation. Sometimes they're extremely annoying, but there is a benefit to standing in a line. Sometimes it teaches you some valuable life lessons. If you know how to multitask, you can actually use that time effectively. And I'm a fan of them by and large. I think they provide a necessary good in our society. I'm for them.
I was thinking about where to start with this, but Paul has been gyrating behind the camera. It really seems like Paul has something to say.
So the guy that was telling us that microwaving his eggs because it's so much faster is trying to preach to us about the value of patience these days. That's all I had to say.
He was spazzing in traffic a couple weeks ago.
I agree. I'm not somebody who's going to stand here and say that I wouldn't too benefit from a little bit more lesson when it comes to the virtue of patience. I'm not perfect on this question by any means, although I think cooking is a little different than waiting in line to buy groceries or whatever it is that you're doing. But yeah, look, I will admit that I too sometimes slip into the habit of demanding immediate satisfaction for what I want. And that's not healthy. It is not good to get what you want exactly when you want it all the time. That's a really, really bad thing.
I can't imagine having to go to the renew my license or a passport office. And Tim, I can see Tim, he walks out his front door with a smile.
Well,
for what he's about
this is
to
what
do.
The people need. We haven't had a good list in a while, Tim. On the fly, can you power rank the best lines to stand in to the worst lines to stand in? Because you said they're all created unequally.
So the best lines to stand in are the lines you're standing in for something that is actually fun, that there's something to look forward to. It actually heightens the anticipation, the excitement of what you're going to do.
Disagree.
So if you're standing in the buffet line, for example, this gives you time to size up what's actually there, start to develop a game plan, think through what you're going to do, stuff like that.
But you just meant a line for a ride, that's an amusement park. I thought.
Yeah, that would be number two.
Or a line to get into a stadium or a concert, with your ticket.
Yeah, these are all in the top 3 or 4. Absolutely.
But how do you differentiate them?
Well, I would differentiate them in terms of what can you actually do while in that line. you can't do much when you're like at a concert in a line trying to get out of a concert. Everyone's jammed together. You're just trying to
Smoke
get
a
out.
joint, drink a beer.
I'm not going to do either of those things. So that would be a little lower. Whereas like in line at a restaurant, in line, on your way into an event that you want to see where you're outdoors, those would be higher up.
An amusement park line.
Yes,
those
as
are
long
awful.
as the line isn't so incredibly long that your amusement park requires.
Yeah, those
fast
are
pass.
the worst. I don't know how you.
A line for complaints is good. It gives you time to formulate your complaint more effectively.
Oh my God.
It gives you a chance to cool down
Where's
and
your-
decide what it
where's-
is you're going to complain about.
When was the last time you went to a store and had to wait in a line to complain?
Like customer service.
How often are you doing this?
Not often, but
I don't
I
think
had
I've-
to stand in lines
I don't think I've
after
ever done
Christmas or whatever to bring stuff back or complain about something. Like if you go to Costco, anytime you go to Costco, there's a lineup of people looking to return stuff. There's a lineup of people agitated or frustrated looking to return stuff. That's a good line.
That's a good
What's
line.
the last thing you returned?
What is the last thing I returned? I can't even remember.
So what's the worst kind of line? Like a washroom line?
Well, a line at the hospital. That's the worst type of line.
Like what do you mean? Like when you're waiting
you're
to
in
sign
waiting in
into
line-
medical imaging?
yeah.
Like what are you talking
No,
about?
like if you're at the ER and there's a lineup and you're waiting to get seen.
That's-
Like, that's
Oh
the
yeah,
worst.
that is.
That-
the
that's
worst.
not really
That's
a
a good
worst
answer.
one.
That's the
Thank
worst.
you.
Yeah, but that's not
Thank
really
you.
that's not really a line though. That's not a line.
It is a lot, dude.
It's not a line. It's not like you're standing there in a line like this. You have to go wait in the waiting room based on the severity of like what you have.
It's a seated line at that point. It's still a
It's-
line. You're waiting. You're just not standing.
So what about airport lines?
Th-
Or like
those-
you're going to
those-
a good trip.
Most
see-
airport lines are stupid because you don't need to get in that line.
Airport lines are stupid because no one seems to have any conception of how they actually work. When they're like, hey,
No, I agree.
people from zone 1 and zone 2 come up, everyone walks up. Well, you're not all in zone 1 and zone 2. And it just makes
Agreed.
it
You
makes,
should only be in there if you're in zone 1 or zone 2.
And Pat says that like a zone 1 or zone 2 kind of guy.
oh yeah.
Sure.
Because I don't want to have to go up there until, like, I would just like to be in the lounge until it's time when they actually call something. I can walk up, get on the plane because I paid for zone 1. I'm in zone 2, whatever it is, when they're letting those people onto the plane. But I can't do that, and I have to get to the gate early because all these jabronis who aren't going to be allowed on the plane for another 30 minutes are standing at the fucking front clogging everything. Don't
I
like it.
agree with you on that.
Now, I get why they're
Still
doing
say
it.
traffic is the worst line. If that
Traffic's
counts.
an awful line. Yeah, it is. You are in a physical line of cars there. Traffic it can be a frustrating line too. But can you? I appreciate. I can tell from your faces that you guys don't agree with me. But can you at least concede there is some value in the role that a line would play in teaching people in some indirect way that it's not good to expect everything you want exactly when you want it.
No.
They do teach a little bit of patience. That type of patience is essential to the functioning of a good society.
I mean, people either have patience or they don't. And those things
That's
don't.
not true. That's not. You're not born with patience. That's not.
Yeah,
that's not true at all. It's learned.
You know what I don't do, and what Geoff probably doesn't know is bring our kids to the mall to stand in line to teach them patience. You can teach patience in a different way.
No,
what you're advocating for, and what you were advocating for on that thread, is to go stand in lines you don't have to fucking stand in.
That's not true. I have to stand in those lines.
You don't have to stand in those lines. You can use an app. You don't have to leave your house. But you choose to go stand in the lines. That was the reason that we got a reversal from our friend. He's like, did you know you don't have to go stand in this line? I can just do it from my phone. It's like, yes. And like I
Not
said,
standing in a line is not a good enough reason for me not to go.
why? You seem to have no time to do anything, as Paul pointed out. When it comes to cooking, an extra minute is the world. But you will go spend an hour to go stand in a line from something you could do in 2 minutes from your seat at home.
I'm not opposed to lines. I'm not in a
That's not
rush
even
to
an
do
answer.
everything.
But you're in a rush to do things. You seem to have the priorities reversed. Like the stuff that you should spend a little bit more time doing, you don't. But you'll go out of your way to spend way more time doing this.
If that's the way you see it, that's the way you see it. But I feel more comfortable doing things the way I'm doing them.
But
And obviously I'm not alone.
You also don't like when, like, we go you and someone else go into McDonald's at the same time, they've already put their order through on mobile.
No,
Like
I don't
you-
like that. I feel like I should be served first.
But you weren't there first.
I'm not here to defend myself. That's me being impatient, by the way. That's an instance of my impatience. I'm not defending that as behavior that other people should model. I'm aware. Believe it or not, I'm actually a very self-aware person. And I am aware of when the position that I've taken is one that I wish I did not take, or
So-
a reaction that I have is a reaction I should not have had.
It's a good
what's
point.
like
No,
a
hold on.
mid-level line? Like
yeah,
what's
It's a good point, Jeff. Just to kind of comment on Tim's self-awareness. You remember when our guy Corey sent us that tweet today about him bringing mozzarella sticks to his potluck because Tim's the only person he's ever heard give advice on potlucks? Tim sent that to our group chat as like a serious thing. Like, see, people are taking my advice.
Well, he signed up on the sheet.
I think he edited it.
You've no evidence of that.
Well, you can.
That's assuming facts, not an evidence.
I mean, you can see the line next to it of where it can be adjusted. And I DM'd him.
Could be, but you don't-
And I sent you the answer to that question. So
Well, that's
what?
different.
Everyone else saw it as mocking you. You saw it as like a big compliment.
I just didn't think I was being
Yeah,
mocked.
you saw it as see, I'm setting trends for this holiday season.
Because you know what? If I had done the other thing, if I had said, oh, look, this person's going out of their way to tweet to mock me, what would I have heard? Oh, you're such a main character to assume that people have time to fool you and allude to you in tweets.
People love doing
They can't
this
win
to you.
but for losing.
No, see that's the main character look that, oh yeah, no matter what I do, it's going to be a problem for me. You're all coming
Okay.
after me. You were just wrong about this. Everyone was on one side, but you were certain it was the other side.
But Tim, what about like you call the hospital line like that's a line of dread? You know, it's a
Yes.
really shitty line. But you know what other line would suck? Imagine being in a line 6-7 people deep and you want to order 2 donuts and you got to spend all this time in line thinking about what that cashier is going to think about you ordering 2 donuts.
That, while an anxiety-inducing instance, does give me extra time to think about which donuts I'm going to purchase. I will tell you right now, anytime I go to a fast food place, unless it's like one where I get the exact same thing every time, I don't like it when I get there and there's no one at the counter. Like I need 30 to 45 seconds to a minute to make my decision. And I feel under pressure when you get there right away and they go, "Can I help you?" And I hate to say,
You don't
no,
have
give me
to
a
step
minute or
in the
two.
line though.
But if there's no line, if you just like walk in front and there's no one there, the person at the cash box will say, "What can I do for you?" And you're like, I like feel like I have to order immediately, and more often than not, order something that I would not have ordered had I taken that extra minute to take a look at the board and make my decision.
You're talking about fast food places you've been 100 times, right?
Yeah, but places where I don't order the same exact thing every time. For
Yeah, but
example,
you
when
know the menu and
I don't know
you're-
the menu well enough,
and
though.
you love like new items, like you know everything.
Yeah, but some places I know a lot better than others, right? And I'm not talking about the places that I know. That would not be a problem at McDonald's, for example. It would not
can
be a
say
problem
that
at
you
Wendy's.
just need a minute.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't like saying it. I feel like they're ready to take my
You're-
order
you're
now,
being
and I just got to
judged
sort of
again.
give it.
They
I'm
get
kind of
paid-
being judged.
You know what? They get paid either way. It's by the hour.
Like it's happened not long ago. I went to an A&W, and like I don't go there all that often. And I was like perusing the board because I got stuff there that I really don't know about, and anyway, I felt like I needed to order right away. And then I ended up ordering something, and I wasn't what I would have ordered.
So what's like a middle of the pack? Like what sort of line would come in like 5th place?
Like I would say a line at a department store where I'm purchasing something.
See, that should be at
Like,
the
I'm
bottom
happy
because you
'cause
don't need
no,
to do
'cause
that.
I'm happy. Well, sometimes whatever. I'm happy that I'm making the purchase, but like I'd like to get through my day. But at the same time, I guess I do still have time in a warm, comfortable environment to like go on my phone, check an email, send an email, check my texts. It's like middle of the pack.
You know what line I actually don't mind, and it's weird because I'd never do it in a rush anyway.
Cocaine.
No, the car wash.
Those are the
line.
best lines that this is known.
Is that power
Car
rank?
wash
Is
line.
that-
Oh,
is
Oh,
that-
I just thought of
sorry.
a terrible
I
line,
get
Jeff.
accused of missing jokes. I'm late here, but yes.
I'll tell you another line when you finish.
I
I
agree
just thought
with
of
Pat.
another line I hate. that would be right on board almost on par with the hospital line. When you finish, you're walking off the green and you make that turn and you see there's a lineup on that next tee of like 3 groups, and that's it. You know the rest of your golf round is probably ruined in terms of the pace of the play, whatever. Like if there's like 2 groups, there's like 4 groups on that same hole. That lineup throws you completely out of kilter. You're like, well, that's it for me.
I wonder if anyone has I met some semi-truck driver once, and he told me that if there's in bigger cities, if they're going and they see other 18-wheelers on the road, that they will form a line of 18-wheelers to block all the lanes and just kind of stop during traffic. And then they let kind of all the traffic ahead of them build up a really big lead, and then they can just drive, because starting and stopping sucks when you're driving an 18-wheeler.
Yes.
I never considered that before. Should we start doing that at golf courses, that if we get to one of these holes where there's like 4 groups or 3 groups or whatever on a tee box when we get there, that we just wait for the group ahead of us to finish the hole ahead of us, and then maybe that gives them enough rope that we won't catch up to them again? Like, do you bite your bullet and waste the 30 minutes then, or do you just be annoyed every 10 minutes?
So this is something I think about when I'm playing by myself and it doesn't seem like there's much behind me. I'm like, should I just sit on this bench for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, just let them progress, let them get a head start? Yeah, if there's not gonna, but like the people behind, I don't know. It's like traffic, Pat. Like people love moving up like 12 feet. So people just want to move incrementally.
It's the worst sometimes. People are like desperate to move 6 inches in front of them for no reason.
Yes.
But you're probably the guy who's still not moving when there's like 80 feet. Like
No,
there's nowhere to go. There's no rush.
Like if I'm in line waiting for like construction, I turn the car off.
The worst line is customs when you've come back from a trip
That's a bad
and
line.
you get your plane lands. You're a citizen and your plane lands the same time as a party from somewhere else. And I don't mean a fun party.
Yeah, when I moved,
That's the worst line. That's my vote for the worst line.
That's a bad line.
when I moved back from the States to Canada, I was at the back of the plane. So one of the main reasons I like sitting at the front of the plane is I get to be the first person off the plane, so I can like dummy everyone and like walk really fast to customs or wherever the hell I'm
But
going.
you also didn't check a bag.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, at this, I had to check a bag because I was moving my whole life back. But I just like to, especially traveling internationally, to get to customs first. So I'm not waiting, just like sitting there, like biding my time, being like, come on, get off the plane. We're going to miss it. But I got stuck behind some guy who took forever to get off the plane, like in the 2 rows ahead of us. So we were all blocked. And when we got in, there was a plane in from Air Israel and a plane in from Air India coming in at the same time. And we landed before them. But by the time I got off the plane, both of those planes had come in ahead of me. And those are big fucking planes. I was losing it.
Big planes, paperwork, student visas.
Yeah.
Not cool. I've said this before too. The line off the plane, like there should be an honor system. People, because I've been trapped there, like with a connecting flight that I'm desperate to make, where like every minute matters, where there should be a moment where like, if you've got another flight let's let everyone off the plane who's got a flight to make. But then I think people would lie and fake it.
That's the whole thing. Cause I agree. I think anyone who has to connect within like the next hour or anything like that should be like, hey, do you have a connection?
Absolutely.
Let priority. Let this person
people
get off the plane.
Yeah. Let all the,
They all have sympathy. Yeah. Let that guy go.
Yeah, because everyone would know the reverse situation of, oh, I have a connection to make. I don't have time to be waiting on the plane, that you would want to get let out first. I don't think anyone has a problem with that. You'd have to be like a psychopath not to let those people off the plane first. But you're right. People would just be like, I have a connection. And then there's people that run from the back of the plane to the front of the plane the moment it lands to try to get off first. It's like, what are you people doing? It's sort of...
Sometimes it's nice. Well, not nice. It's frustrating to fly with kids and have the luggage. But when you just have your bags, you're like, and you have like a car seat. So you have the oversized or golf clubs. Like you're in no rush. You're like,
yeah,
I could be the last person off this plane. I'm cool to just sit here. You all have your insane rat race today.
So I did. I wanted to mention this. I did I think I've solved Tim's potluck problem, Geoff. Because
Air fryer?
I don't see it as a problem.
well, it is a problem because I even mentioned to you today that people now associate you and like everything that you point out with what you want to bring, the Christmas gifts that you give, are just the lazy man's way to do everything. You are now associated with low effort when it comes to anything. That this is a way.
Which is weird because he admits like he'll drive an extra 20 minutes to go to the same store, different location just to change up his vibe.
Yes.
I understand. Like it's poorly routed effort, maybe is the way to put this. Because when it comes to a potluck, here's the quickest, easiest thing that I can bring. I will put no thought into this. But Tim also told me about something that he makes at home, and I told him it would make a great potluck thing, right?
You did?
So can you explain to the people what you can start bringing to potlucks?
Was it the individually dressed nacho chips?
No. Why? How would you make those at fucking potlucks?
Wait, I don't know now. What was it that you said?
You're just doing that classic thing like you do when we watch football. When people say things, you just nod your head and don't listen to them.
I thought that's what you said. I'm sorry. What is it that you
What?
said?
How would it be individually dressed nachos? How would that work?
You just dress each one individually.
How are you going to cook
I
them?
love that so much.
What?
How are you going to cook them for a potluck? You're going to make them
Put
before
them
you
in
go?
the office or stove or whatever.
The office stove,
Or you-
whatever. Yeah, good call.
Or bring a air fryer with you.
Bring the air fryer with you, huh? That's your solution?
Yes. Okay, sorry. What is it that you thought I should bring? Cookies?
You were talking about pork chops with applesauce.
Oh, yes. You're right. We did talk about that. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I make a fantastic homemade applesauce, I have to admit. With apples and brown sugar and butter and walnuts, and it's quite delicious.
See,
Sounds delicious.
so what he could do then is cook, because we were talking about pork chops in the air fryer, you cook up a bunch of pork chops, put them onto skewers, like chop them up into chunk
Yes,
pieces,
we
put
did
them onto
talk about this.
skewers, and bring the applesauce that comes along with it. Doesn't that actually sound like something you might want to eat, Geoff, at a potluck?
Yeah, that seems much more worthy than grocery store matzo sticks.
Yeah, I agree. And then you put some effort into it.
Well, I do have a potluck coming up in a couple of weeks, so
And
maybe I'll report back.
you
But
weren't
the
the one.
thing is, Pat, I think there are people who might be counting on those matzo sticks.
Who, Tim?
I don't
I'm
know.
not. No, there's never any left over. Put it that way.
Yeah. Some dude's like, I don't know, there's gonna be a lot of random food there tonight. At least I can count on Tim's matzo sticks.
Exactly. I'm there for the person who has a selective diet.
Yeah, as the child's diet, Paul?
Bringing pork may be bad, though.
That could be any meat.
Geoff would know.
No, why?
To a
It's
potluck.
No. No,
Well, 'cause
it's
there
a
are
potluck.
there are
It's
some
a
people for whom
potluck.
they don't eat pork, right?
More for you.
Yeah,
then.
no, that's not especially if it's like a theme, like essentially it's a Christmas party. That's not no. I like pork. I'd eat it.
You can do it with chicken if you want to, then. Works all the same. Anyway, let's get to the late slate.
Before we leave, I like just the common man out there who supports us, who interacts with us. Like, just let it settle in. Tim advocating for lines, waiting in lines. That's insane. That's insane.
I don't know that it's popular, but I know that it's true.
And that's the part that makes it insane.
Eating your vegetables is by and large not fun, but it's a positive necessity.
See, that's
Yeah,
not
guess what? Kids learn that. My kid learns that every time he goes to a play place or the park, they wait their turn.
Also,
Okay.
what kind of person says vegetables aren't delicious besides like 7-year-olds?
No, but I mean, they're by and large the least delicious part of almost every meal.
I don't know about that.
Even if they're done well, most people will enjoy by and large their meat and their starch more than they'll enjoy their vegetable.
I mean, I think that's
That's not always the case, but it's
you're
usually.
I think you're speaking for yourself a lot on that one.
No, I don't think so. I think most people, if you ask them a poll, which of these things in your plate is your most favorite, second, and third most favorite?
Yeah, but
think that the vegetable, even if it's a really delicious vegetable, will not be the favorite or second favorite.
maybe you're right on that. But you also just said that people don't like to eat vegetables. That was the first thing you said. So maybe you're wrong on that.
Well, some people don't like to eat their vegetables, but
Like you.
vegetables aren't
And
like popular.
Vegetables are
I like
pretty-
vegetables.
Vegetables are pretty
I
popular.
like
man.
vegetables.
People,
I like vegetables.
People eat a lot of vegetables.
I agree. I like them too.
But you just said that people don't eat them. People don't like
I
them.
don't. I know. I said they're not popular. It's an expression to eat your vegetables.
Yeah.
Like to do something that isn't particularly fun
because
or good, but it's important.
children don't grasp that concept. But it turns out when you're an adult, it's like, yeah, vegetables are great. Cleveland and Denver. Tim's Broncos, back in on the Broncos, big fan of Sean Payton now, are 2.5-point favorites against the Browns, starting DTI at quarterback. This line has grown since Sunday night, hasn't it?
It has, and I still like Denver. I
Still-
don't know what to say. I mean, I no longer have any beef with the Broncos team. I really don't care if they win or not. But I've seen now 2 games of DTR, and he hasn't been good in either. They couldn't score again. Score a single point in the second, or they scored 3 points, in the whole second half against Pittsburgh. That offense is flat. And so unless the defense steals you a game, they're not. The Browns are like the good version of the Jets this year, in that they have a fantastic defense, but an offense that really, really struggles to score because many of their best players are injured. So I'll take Denver in this game at home. Seems like a pretty good spot to take them.
Are you going to be stunned, Geoff, when Denver makes the playoffs?
No credit to them. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but full credit. Sometimes you want to enact a full culture change. There's going to be bumps along the way. It's really impressive.
I just don't know.
I said it last week. They beat the Chiefs and the Bills in back-to-back weeks. Chargers don't have a quality win like that in 2 years.
And then they beat the best quarterback on the face of the earth on Sunday night.
See, now you're lying. Now you're
3
saying
in a row.
things nobody said. He'd been great for the Jets, and you'd been so happy if he was the quarterback for the Jets.
Yeah, you just
You
got
can frame it any way you want.
You just got pumped about Tom Boyle, or whatever the fuck that guy's name is.
I would be pumped for any single human being who wasn't Zach Wilson.
But you didn't want Josh Dobbs.
No, because in 2 weeks or 3 weeks' time, when we have now Rodgers back on the 24th, I don't need him anymore.
Okay. Did you really need that 6th round pick?
Probably. You've seen that offensive and offensive line. We need to use every pick under the sun on offensive linemen.
Broncos are a great story. I think that what's really actually going to be fun, as much as I don't like them, like just long term, I can respect and acknowledge a good story like when it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether you're mocking me, but I'm going to make
I
a
agree with
point.
you. No, I agree with you.
So I'm going to continue my point in that they're actually, and especially a great chance to win this week, they're going to be a team that literally everyone is cheering for, like in the next month. Like when they win again, they're going to be an easy team to cheer for. Just like anything, people love to build you up, kick you down, and then salute you when you build yourself back up again. And that's essentially been the Broncos in the last like 15 months or whatever. Wilson's not playing great, but he's playing fine and he's making great plays. Like, is that weird to say? He's not playing great, but he's making enough great plays. Yeah, that's how you can win football games.
And he's not
Defense is healthy.
and he's not making mistakes.
Yeah. So it's weird. They get another backup quarterback. I'm gonna take the game's in Denver.
Yeah.
Pat, okay, we finally disagreed with Jacksonville, Houston. I'm gonna just take the opposite of you
I'm taking
because I don't have a
Cleveland.
clue. Okay, I'm taking Denver then. I didn't want to, but okay.
Yeah, again,
Denver it is.
this kind of comes down to, I think this is a field goal game. I'll take the team getting points in that situation. I mean,
And Denver has shown you that Denver, like last week, you could still be you can be getting 2 points and
Yeah,
they come in real handy.
oh yeah, listen, Denver's not afraid to pull a Fienberg. We just saw it on Sunday night.
Yeah, and I don't trust their 2-point conversion offense.
No, and DTR didn't look good, but he also didn't look bad at the same time. Like, he looked competent enough for the game that he was playing. If you ask him to come back from 14 points, I don't know if he has the ability to do that. But He played shitty in the second half, like Tim pointed out, but when it came down to it and he needed to lead them on a drive to get into field goal range to win the game, he went 4 for 4 on the drive, rushed for a first down. They got there. And I could see that being a similar situation this week where he's going to have a drive to get into field goal range to win the game. And if that's the case, then they're probably covering the 2.5 anyway. So I'll take Cleveland. Rams in Arizona. What would you want to say?
I do. Maybe we could see this thing where like people overlooked Denver so much because they were so bad, and now teams actually have to start showing them a little more respect in their preparation. But they've earned that respect, clearly.
Okay. Rams at Arizona. Rams favored by a point on the road. A lot of home dogs this week. The Rams have won 8 straight games in Arizona, holding the Cardinals and Kyler Murray for the most part to under 17 points per game in those, which I thought was somewhat surprising because I always thought the Cardinals gave the Rams a lot of problems, but the Cardinals give the Niners. Like this division's really weird. Like it's a one of the teams when they're shitty always gives one of the good teams when they're not shitty real problems. Like the Rams give the Seahawks problems. The Cardinals give the 49ers problems. The 49ers give the Rams problems. And I assume that just means Seattle beats up on Arizona all the time.
That last one I don't recall.
Was that just a McVay Kingsbury thing?
It may have been. I mean, Kingsbury was there for what, 2 years?
More.
Was it?
I really like the Rams here.
I like
that.
I like the Rams too. I don't know if Cup's going to play.
He's day to day, right? I think he probably will. Like their season hangs in the balance. Still, they need another win to keep a faint hope of the playoffs alive. So I expect him to play if at all possible. I expect the Rams to play very well. I expect the Rams to win. I like the Rams here.
Coin is going Arizona. Jeff, where are you going?
I'm taking the Rams again. Pussyfooting around without like a real strong opinion, but I'll take the Rams.
All right. Chiefs at Vegas. Vegas are 9.5 point underdogs at home. I thought it was 8.5.
It's 8.5 here on the board at the current spread.
So it's going towards the Raiders. Money coming in on the Raiders. The line for the show will be 9.5 because that's what it says on the board right now. I mean, everything says Chiefs, Jeff, but the Raiders cover these games in games where they should be losing by 80 points. Don't know what to do.
We are in last place in a division with the Raiders and the Broncos, and our coach is still employed. We are unserious people. This is not
about you.
People.
This is about the Raiders.
We're not serious people. Now the Chiefs, it's like the Chiefs changed that narrative about not covering, and now all of a sudden they don't score, do anything in the second half. Like I've joked, the Raiders have voodoo. The Raiders have like a lesser tier voodoo than Pittsburgh. Even in their losses, they should lose by 100. They cover. I'll take Kansas City because Raiders can't cover again after getting outgained by 300 yards, but they'll find a way.
I'm teasing the Chiefs down.
It's a good call.
And I am going to take the Chiefs. I think the Raiders are going to be a popular underdog pick. Clearly they are already because the money's coming on them. And we saw the Chiefs not play. You know, the Chiefs were definitely the better team last night. We didn't see them play to their potential. The Raiders are still not that great. Come on now. The Chiefs are going to win this game comfortably. I like the Chiefs.
I like the Chiefs too. Reminder to everyone too, we are doing that live Thanksgiving show, but if you want a Thanksgiving DraftKings breakdown, that show is already out on Mayo Media Network and up on the pod feed right now. Buffalo and Philadelphia. This game might be my super lock. It is Philly minus 3.5 at home. Maybe I'm just reading this the wrong way, and yeah, Phillies look kind of shitty. Does not feel like nearly enough points here. Philadelphia seems way better than Buffalo.
I'm struggling with this one, actually.
Like, unless this is 38-35 Buffalo, I could see this being 30-7 for Philadelphia. Like, how are the Bills stopping the Eagles here? Oh, they stopped Zach
The Bills
Wilson.
haven't been blown out all year. Like, even in all the Bills' losses, they're close losses. They don't lose by margin. It's interesting. The advanced stats think Buffalo is a pretty significantly better team than Philly.
Buffalo
For
has,
all, like, even before last week, for all of the hate on Josh Allen and the low hanging fruit, all the advanced metrics showed that he was still playing great. And it kind of reminded me, Pat, of that game where Lamar was, I think it was against Pittsburgh, where he just self-destructed in the red zone a couple times. Receivers dropped balls. He ended up throwing a couple picks. And everyone was so down on him, but like the metrics showed he was still amazing. I don't know whether that's a fair thing. I'm taking Buffalo. This is the game of the day. It's going to be close. Field goal football. It'll be an entertaining close game.
Yeah, I'm going to put the AFC NFC theory to the test and take Buffalo as well. I think the Bills are. I don't know. The Eagles had to expend a lot last night to get that W, and coming off a very short week. Yeah, give me Buffalo too. I think that as long as it's 3.5, I think the value is slightly on Buffalo.
See, isn't that weird? Pat's like, there's not enough points. Who would take this? And then there's two idiots who are like, we'll take it.
I mean, the Bills.
I think Buffalo and Philly.
The Bills' defense is solved. They lost 3 guys and held Zach Wilson to 6 points. Unbeatable.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. If the Eagles wagon them, it's definitely in the range of outcomes. I just got a weird feeling about it. But I agree with pretty much everything you said as it pertains to the Eagles and what they should be able to accomplish. I just think it gets close.
And I
backdoor it. Not that that's a reason to bet it, but I'm taking the 3.5.
I understand that the Bills haven't been routed so far this season, but they've played 3 good teams that I would call good teams so far this season. I'm not including the Jets in that. They played the Dolphins, and they blew out the Dolphins. They played the Jags, and it was 25-20, but that was because I think Josh Allen scored like 14 points in the last 2 minutes of the game when like doing garbage time work. And the same thing kind of happened against the Bengals. Like, they scored that late touchdown to lose by 6. So they were getting blown out in those games. Then all of a sudden they score 14 points in 2 minutes, and the game looks a lot closer than it was. And it saved. I mean, much was talked about Josh Allen leading the league in interceptions or being close to it, but he was also leading the league in touchdowns at the same time. He was having like a mini Jameis type season that, I don't know, it just, the Eagles feel like a better team than the Bills do right now. Like, we talk a lot, Tim, about who the best unit on the field is, and the Bills offense still might be the best unit on this field. But the Bills defense is by far the worst unit by a significant margin in this game.
Yeah, it is now with the injuries. I have to agree with that.
Like, it was before the latest string of injuries. A rash of injuries caused it to be bad in the first place. Now they've had even more injuries. Like, A.J. Brown might have 300 yards in this game, especially after doing nothing on Monday night.
Yep. Look ahead game for the Eagles, who play the 49ers the next week, if that's the thing you care about.
And listen, the Bills need the game. I'm not going to deny that. If you're just doing it from
They sure do.
who needs it the most metrics, the Bills need to go 2-2 over the next 4 weeks against 4 pretty good teams. So getting this one would be very helpful for them.
Yeah, if you think the Bills are going to make the playoffs, I think you have to take Buffalo in this game. If you do not, then you should not take them.
Yeah, this is, and it's the Bills. This game is the lead into a Bills bye week. So huge game.
Yeah, it sure is. I hope the Bills lose.
It's the only quality game on the whole day.
Additionally, the Bills have won 1 game on the road so far this year. They won. They beat the shit out of the Commanders 37-3. They lost at the Jets. They lost in London to the Jags, which was technically a home game for them, but that was on the road, neutral site, not in Buffalo. They lost at the Patriots and at the Bengals. They lost to the Patriots, man. That's not good.
Nope.
They have no one, and this comes from the Chargers fan who'd love to have the Bills record, but no one has the collection of ugly losses quite like the Bills have this year.
The Bills and Eagles do share one thing in common.
Beat by
Zach
the
Wilson
Jets.
has beaten them both.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson has beaten them both this year.
Well, technically, Aaron Rodgers gets the team win for week 1. He started.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
fair
the
enough.
Bills lost to Zach, they lost to Mac, they lost to should have lost to Tyrod.
Yeah, they almost lost to Tyrod. They almost lost to Baker.
And then Russ, who, he's come around, but a month ago that was very LOL to lose to Russ.
I think that we're just being clouded by what we saw on Sunday, with the Bills just smoking the Jets. Because on the Monday night game, like Russ was able to move the ball very easily against that defense. I know the points didn't all get there, but the Broncos have real problems getting the ball into the end zone a lot of the times. They settle for a lot of field goals. The Eagles are just like the really good version of the Broncos offense.
Yeah, the Broncos' only red zone play is a vintage Russ spinorama, evade the pressure, Cortland Sutton, incredible catch. That is their red zone offense.
It's crazy to think that Sutton, I know he was banged up last year, but it's crazy to think like coming into this year, everyone just kind of like people loved him like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like he's going to be like a real thing. And then like after last year, just everyone wrote off every piece of Denver. Turns out Sutton's really good. Like at the trade deadline, people were like, oh, they're going to trade Jerry Jeudy. And the only thing he can do is like fake throw pump fakes. But Sutton's the guy you probably would have wanted and probably could have had. Anyway, Sunday Night Football, Geoff, your team on Sunday Night Football. Yeah. They're 3.5-point dogs at home against the Ravens. I don't know.
What was the spread when you did the show?
3.5, Tim?
Might have been this.
Yeah, I think
I'm shocked it's only 3.5. I've already said my piece, like when I kind of spoke about the team earlier.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Ravens here because Andrews might be out for the season. We don't know yet, but he's not going to play in this game. And Lamar is dealing with an ankle injury. Beckham's banged up at the same time. That they don't have their full complement of pieces. And it's really the ankle injury to Lamar, Tim, that worries me because he's leading the league in rushing for quarterbacks right now. If he's not, it's not that he needs to run, but he has to show the ability to run. Like look at what has happened to the Eagles since Jalen Hurts stopped running as much because the threat of him running isn't there because he has a gimped up ankle. That it does change the dynamic of their offense a lot from its ceiling.
Absolutely. Plus, we're getting to the time of year where Lamar just doesn't play anymore.
Oh, you're not doing this, are you?
The last 2 seasons,
Lamar
didn't play. Lamar didn't play. I love the Chargers in this game.
We're
teasing the Chargers up, and I think the Chargers are going to be it's going to be a tight ball game, which the Chargers could just piddle away at the end of the game, lose by a field goal, something around
every
like
game.
Tucker.
Every game.
But I like the Chargers in this game.
Every game you've needed this team, like in all of their what looks like a big game, you've picked them, and they've lost every one.
Yeah.
And you're going back here.
I'm going back here only because I don't trust.
You're like Lamar MVP, Lamar untouchable.
Lamar is second in MVP voting. He is the MVP in my opinion right now.
Why are you doing this?
But 3.5, and I get to tease them all the way up to 10. Seems like a good number. I think the Chargers play everybody, good or bad. They can play them close. And it's going to be a close game. I think the Ravens win, but the Chargers cover.
Oh, we can beat anybody, but we lose to everybody.
That's right. I think it's going to be
can beat anybody, but we lose to everybody. I don't know. Pat mentions the Lamar thing. I'll offset that by saying when you got a defense as bad as ours, and now Joey Bosa's certainly missing this game. Like, come on. There's Lamar. This will be a game where the dudes who've always said, look, I told you Lamar could throw, they'll get a victory lap on this one.
I've never understood that argument against Lamar. Besides the first year that he played, when they specifically had an offense that was like Tim Tebow offense, and they just ran at a wishbone every single time. Lamar has thrown a ton in every other season and looked good doing it. I've never understood that.
I don't know where. I'm not even one of those people. I'm just saying that's going to be a thing. He's going to drop dime the same way Jordan Love was dropping it into buckets. Christian Watson's wide open in the end zone. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because the dumbest motherfucker on the football field isn't my head coach. It's actually my middle linebacker, Kenneth Murray. He's out of position pre-snap. My safety has to tell him, you've got to be over there. Well, Kenneth Murray is trying to get where he's supposed to be. He bumps into the dude who's supposed to be covering Christian Watson, and now Christian Watson's running wide open. It's a clusterfuck. The Ravens are just too good on margin. The Chargers are so bad on margin. Any year past, I'd probably be like, you know what? Things have not gone well. But every year, the Chargers win this game. This is like the game they win to suck me back in when I've gone full throttle, you pieces of shit. My buddy made mention of probably my thoughts before the Dolphin game a year ago. They went on to make the playoffs. I do not believe that to be the case this year. But just when I literally want to, I don't want to say what I want to do to them.
You could hop
they
into
find a win.
second
I don't
place.
believe this team can find that win. I do not believe this group can find that win. I don't believe this coach can make that win happen. Herbert's going to play great. Chargers will lose. They'll lose by more than 3.5.
Okay, so you're taking Baltimore. I'm kind of on the same page as Tim here.
Fuck off.
You
that
could be a game out of the playoffs legitimately
Yeah.
at the end of this game, Geoff. Your season's not.
If they
Quite
win this
done.
game, no. See, this is the goddamn problem. I'll punch myself in the face. They win this game. They're going to play the Patriots next week. They're going to suck me right back in again. These
6-6 with divisional
I
games.
hate them so much. I do.
I'm not.
I do.
I'm not even saying that this is going to be a situation where the Chargers win this game, but it just seems like a good spot to bet the Chargers, especially the later you wait. Presumably, this line goes up because everyone's going to love Baltimore. The Chargers just lost to Green Bay, who absolutely sucks. That it makes the most sense in the world. If you no home field advantage for the Chargers, they should be getting more points, and it's not even really a home game. Like it's just a good spot for the Chargers to cover this number.
Long time, like throwback Mayo media super fan, our boy Riku, who I've been to a Chargers game with out in San Diego. It was the last time I ever saw Phillip Rivers play. He's a hardcore Ravens fan. He's like, him and his buddies like shout out for one of those like floor suites. He's gonna be like a crazy Asian super fan if they can catch him on camera after like a Justin Tucker game-winning 55-yard field goal, which means Chargers cover, but I'm not picking them to.
Yeah.
And they're wearing their LT throwbacks. Their
Oh,
LT
we are wearing
homages.
a throwback that Tim's been
The
calling.
LT, the
screaming
good
for.
alternate that you have. The LT alternate. I love it this week.
They have good defense. Like, we're not winning this game. You guys.
I didn't say they were going to win. I just said it's a good number for the spot that they're in right now. Just coming off being embarrassed last week. Sometimes, what reason would anyone have had, realistically, going into the game last week, Geoff? And we all knew, because it's the Chargers, they can lose to anyone. They lost to Tennessee earlier this season in a weird game. But, like, what had Green Bay shown to be like, you know what? I'm going to pick Green Bay to win. Outside of, it's the Chargers, they could fuck this up.
Yeah, I don't know. It stunk from the beginning, but the line never budged.
Doesn't this line stink too?
Does stink. Trust me, I want the Chargers to win, and the only reason I think they can win is because I think the line stinks, Patrick.
I mean,
but I
look,
don't have it in me.
You got the Patriots. The Bills could be reeling when you
That
get
is why,
them.
dude.
There might not be another loss on the schedule because the Chiefs may have nothing to play for in Week 18.
That's why the coach needs to be. There's literally a chance to spark the club, but no, they forbid to want to spark the club by. Like, you cannot crash dad's car every time you take it out of the garage and your dad still gives you the car keys. Like, what the fuck? And then he has the chutzpah to be offended when people wonder what, like, dude, your defense sucks, man. Like, they're finally telling him. The scrum group is finally telling him. Oh my God. Popper versus Staley. It's honestly all I have. It is all I have. It is all I have. Oh, so this is what happened though. Wanted to tell you guys earlier. Mentioned an internet controversy. It's only in my orbit. But Chargers fans lost their shit on Rappaport yesterday. Because he went on that TV channel, the league-owned run one. And he did this diatribe defending Staley. defending him. And like, you're listening, like, holy shit, what is happening here? How is this possible? Like, went on. The clips are out there. Charger fans, internet sleuths care way more than me. They were having none of this, guys. They were having none of this. They're like, something is up here. I need to get to the bottom of this. They outed Rappaport. He's got like the same agent as Staley. He's sitting there on the league propaganda channel telling everybody he's not a bad coach. The defense isn't so bad. It's not his fault. No one cares. If this was my son's team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the internet would be going nuts. But it's my squad. No one gives a shit. And that's respectable. That's respectable. But yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. It is unacceptable. So fuck you, Rappaport.
Former
Well,
guest.
we know who
on
we can put on the list of,
No, it's that rivals are real. It's not like I'm upset. I think that's uncalled for. I don't think in a month I'm still going to be cursing out Ian Rappaport. So, I mean, Paul can take out his notepad and write down that name, but it will have no traction, I believe.
Okay. Monday Night Football. Chicago and Minnesota. Tim's biggest rival of the year is turning into Josh Dobbs.
not a rival.
He sounds like a rival. You get very triggered by
Sounds
Josh
like
Dobbs.
someone who says that often. That's the tone. That's the pitch of a person. Who
Not a
thinks that's
rival. I'm
rival.
happy to see that he's doing great. Like, I'm not here to criticize.
I mean, you've already, out of context, you've brought him up 3 times already on the show to laugh at him for losing on Sunday night.
I mean, we're teasing the Bears up here. They're the last part of the teaser.
Okay.
The Bears for 58 minutes last week looked really good.
Really good as a stretch. They stood there.
They were taking it to the best team or one of the best
they
teams in the
didn't-
NFC,
They
toe to toe.
didn't really take it to them. Jared Goff threw it to him 3 times in a row.
They've got to. It's not like the defense is doing nothing to try to induce, quick throws and pressuring him
Okay.
and making sure they secure this. Like, it's not completely all on Goff's incompetence. Till the game went horribly, horribly wrong at the end, it went really right for Chicago. I don't know, but as long as Fields is playing, that team has some moxie. And in a divisional game where I think the whole world is going to be on Minnesota, I really like Chicago.
I don't know
So-
if people, I don't know if people will really want to be on Minnesota at -3.5. If it was -2.5, I would agree with you. I think people will see that's a big number for Minnesota to cover.
People will be happy they can bet Fields again.
Yeah.
Like Fields is good in their minds, which maybe he is. I'm not even here to have that debate.
I think he is. If the Bears
Yeah,
have
no,
a
I'm pro
QB pick,
Fields.
they shouldn't take one.
I do want to say
We just went through this
like
again.
I felt on Sunday night. The Broncos and the Vikings played off of how those teams' games went the week before. I thought as sports football bettors, it was a lost opportunity that they were playing each other because both the Vikings and the Broncos would have been ultimate fate teams last week. I believe that to be identical again this week, except these teams are playing each other. I would love to be picking on Chicago after everyone sees it like Tim. Oh, they played 58 minutes against an NFC powerhouse, Detroit, and Detroit can do no wrong. They hung with them. And I would love to still be picking on Josh Dobbs off of, I mean, I don't feel like Tim, but water's going to find its level here, kind of, I think. I'm taking the Vikings, though. I can't bet against both of them. I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm going to take the Vikings too. I just think they're a better team overall. And Chicago's weird in a way where they're not a team. You're probably going to win that leg of the teaser. I would agree with that, Tim. They seem like a very sensible team to tease up. They do scare me as a teaser team, though, because even at the end, like Detroit almost covered that game by the time it was over somehow. Because they'll snap the ball out of the end zone. If they'll kick it out of the back of the end zone, Detroit just might fall on it and cover that game. Like, they will give up points so fast, you don't know what happened.
Those are all fair points. But if I look at the Vikings don't have the firepower, I think, to destroy the Bears. It's just a tight divisional game where it's going to be close. And I think both sides have a real chance. And I think Chicago's got the more talented quarterback, and I'm going to go with them.
Okay. So you win the coin on Chicago, me and Geoff on Minnesota, because that's the way this week has been going with Geoff and I agreeing with each other. So we'd like to usually say this will be like a big week for Geoff and I or for Tim, but we'll probably just end up splitting the entire way down.
Oh, I need a big week to get back into the hunt. I hope things break my way.
Yeah, you're a good 15 games behind me now,
Yeah,
I think.
this is actually the board went exactly the way it needed to for me this week.
Yeah, it was like that year you were beating me and you didn't realize that I let you pick first on every game, so I just picked the opposite of you and then I won.
Yeah, well, fair enough. It worked out for me this week. I mean, if I get a bunch of them wrong, I'm no worse off than I was.
It's true. All right, SUPERLOCKS for the week, aka the Omaha Steaks premium picks of the week. Go to omahasteaks.com right now because listen, it's hard to buy presents for anyone, really. If you're me, you're like, I don't know what to get anyone, but I don't want to seem like I'm low effort like Tim, so I'll be like, hey, a big box full of premium meat for people who like to eat meat and cook meat that's flash frozen sent to their door sounds great. Cam really enjoyed this gift last year. And, Tim always says Cam's the everyman. I'm sure that you have the everyman in your life. So if you go to omahasteaks.com right now, it's 50% off everything site-wide. And if you use code MAYO at omahasteaks.com, you'll get an additional $30 off. A minimum purchase is required to get that $30 off, but it's 50% off. It's a Christmas gift. You can spend up a little bit here, and it's good for months. It's flash frozen stuff. They can eat it at their own pace if they want to, and you can probably pay for one of those, hopefully, by taking our premium picks. I am taking Tennessee -3.5 over Carolina, Geoff.
So I believe
the
the
Bengals,
purpose of a
please.
gift should be to give someone something they want, but they probably just won't buy for themselves for whatever reason. Like, that is a perfect gift. You don't need to get people something, he buys that for himself. Like, no, he'll buy that for himself. Omaha Steaks, perfect gift. Because people want it, but it's just maybe something they won't buy for themselves. Like, it's a great gift. And that's a great theory in general with gift giving.
And it's something
they won't buy themselves, but they want.
There's only one drawback to Omaha Steaks is that you don't have to wait in a line to go get it.
I would rather.
Wouldn't you rather wait in a line?
I wish I
Yeah.
could wait in a line.
That's tough.
I'd feel better, and it would cleanse the soul. Not only would I be waiting in a line, I could read up on the latest Chargers news while in line. So it'd be a perfect opportunity. This entire board sucks. I'm going to donkey smash the 49ers on Thursday. And if you've made it this long through the show, you can get that nugget. Not
So,
trying to give anything away.
You can make that. You can make one of the Thursday games your premium pick if you like.
If you're going to let me, then yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I don't even care. If Gino plays, it'll go down like a point. If he doesn't, it'll go up 4.
Gino plays, you don't have much of a chance to win that game. I think the Seahawks might win the game on the field if Gino plays. We'll save that for Thursday.
Yeah, Tim's on this. Gino's really good. So 6.5 is your number, Geoff?
Yeah.
Okay, Tim?
Well, for my Omaha Steaks, I'm taking a carnivorous mammal who loves to eat meat, and that's the Bears of Chicago.
So
I think the most value on the board is Chicago +3.5.
are you in on carnivore theme this week?
I think a carnivorous theme is excellent. You like the Bengals,
The Dolphins?
the Lions on Thursday, the Lions.
Dolphins?
The Dolphins, I suppose, do eat other fish, so they would count.
They're pescatarians.
Yeah, they are pescatarian.
Yeah, but the Panthers, and would go against Pats.
I like the Panthers this week. That's another. So I have a carnivorous theme this week.
The Jags you took?
I did take the Jaguars. That's right.
You took the
So
Broncos?
you can let Cam know he should fade the meat eaters.
You took the Rams? You actually did
I
take
did take the Rams.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo's a tricky one because the Buffalo Bills aren't animals. It's not a buffalo. The buffalo's for the city of Buffalo. It's just named after
Absolutely.
Buffalo Bill.
Yes.
So their mascot should really be a guy tucking his sack back going like that.
That is not the Buffalo Bill.
You could break this down with Cam as to what exactly It's a bill. No, I think it's a.
I didn't mean to, but I stumbled into a carnivore theme this week. Falcons are carnivores. Anyway.
I like it. I like where you're at. Seahawks, who you seem to like.
Oh, I think the Seahawks are one of the most undervalued plays on the board if Geno plays.
The Ravens will be carnivores picking at my dead corpse.
No, the Chargers are a great defense from attack. They can, even though a Chargers, I guess, but it's really a horse, right?
Is that what it is?
Yes,
it is. Like a Charger is like a stallion.
Yeah, but that's not what they're called after because they're lightning.
No, yeah, it is.
But their old logo had
their
the white
original
horse on it.
logo is like a horse with a lightning bolt.
Like that Napoleon crossing the Alps famous photo is him on a white Charger.
So they should be the Los Angeles Napoleons. Be a good tie-in. That's what they should do. If the Chargers need to generate some money to fire Staley and hire a new head coach, they should lease out their team nickname. So they're the Los Angeles, whatever the new movie coming up is.
Brandon
That
Staley
is a
is one
great
of the
idea.
cheapest paid head coaches in the league. I honestly don't believe that money would prevent them in the middle of November from firing a coach.
Well, if
I don't.
Maybe they can make it do an auction where you can bid to be the coach of the Chargers for a week. And that way they can generate revenue too.
I'd rather bid to get a question at the press conference, and I'd buy 5 fucking questions.
I mean, we can probably get you credentials. I mean, we probably can't get you credentials at this point.
No, it can't. But I said before,
you're on a list. You probably named
I have
names.
literally, like, in my head thought, like, I've mentioned, I think you guys have made fun of me in the past. Like, I want to pay off a beat writer to ask my questions. Like, I'll give you $100 for every question of mine you ask.
It would just be like, remember when Jay Leno wasn't able to make jokes about the Michael Jackson trial? So he just hired comedians to come on stage during the monologue and tell Michael Jackson jokes while he stood there. That's essentially what you want to do. You just want to pay somebody to tell your jokes, your questions for you.
I can honestly tell you.
The guy at
did
his
not
opening press conference told me that we're going to, because it was all like, you're asked when you get to be introduced as the head coach of the Chargers, it brings you up like, bro, you know, this team's cursed. You know, this team does like the weirdest shit. Like, you know, this team goes full Chargers. He told me we're going to write new movies. Like, the movies are going to be different. I'm telling you, the movies got fucking worse. They got scarier. Ernest scared stupid. Okay. But I'm an idiot because I bought it. I can't own it. Like, I have to be, I got sold the bill of goods. I got duped, but I'm easily dupable and I'll never give a shit again. Like, I don't care. I'd rather my coach come out and sound like Nick Sirianni out of the fucking gate than, you know, it doesn't matter. So if I'm talking about what my coach says in his introductory press conference as to why we got the right guy, just fucking smack me. Like, beat the shit out of me. Don't let me get away with that for a second. You're my friends. Talking to all of you.
Tim, your teaser, 6.5 points. Atlanta up to 7.5. Kansas City down to 3. The Chargers up to 10, and the Bears up to 10.
That's right. It will have been, by the time it wins, the 3rd straight teaser I've given out to win.
So you're already predicting the Pilgrim Parlay teaser is going to win?
Absolutely. That hits at an outrageously high clip.
I mean, that's undeniable. Compared to your other picks, it's at least 500, I think, in the years that we've been doing it.
Looking forward to Thursday. I'm looking forward to a live show with a live corner.
Yeah, well, I mean, people should tune into that. So I want to thank Paul for setting that up, Geoff for being available, myself, of course, and I should have a better voice then and far more energy at that point. I certainly hope so. Won't be giving you the COVIDs from across the table, but I do want to thank Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
That's not my name.
For being on the show. And yes, live 9:15 Eastern time, Thursday morning. We'll be doing the 3 spread picks for those games and a live Cust Corner. Maybe if we finish, we don't go like 3 hours on 3 games and we keep it to like 50 minutes or so, maybe we can even crowdsource a Cust Corner at the end of it with people in the chat.
That would be great. I'd be open to taking, their questions or comments about the corner or yeah, that'd be great.
So tune
You
in there.
people, you are the stars.
Yeah, you're the stars. Playing the listeners' leagues. There's 3 of them this week. So let's get those filled up as well. I'll be back with... When should I release the best bet show? Should I just release it right away on Wednesday so people have
How
it?
is it organized? Is it like got all the games from Thursday to Monday on it, or
We never do the Thursday games on the best bet
but
show.
with Thanksgiving, are you really going to take 3 games off the board for best bets?
Yeah, we don't do Thursday games. And we probably won't do the Friday
Okay.
game either then because it's
I'll speak for the people as a fan of the show and just say release.
Give it to them Black Friday. Yeah,
Release it when
Black
it's
Friday.
ready.
No,
I
because
don't agree.
my DraftKings show is coming out on Black Friday.
But that's fine. They can watch 2 shows at once.
No, that's bad for the download.
Back to back.
If you release audio podcasts back to back, even with the auto downloads, only the most recent one will download. So then I'll lose like half my downloads.
What about Saturday?
Saturday's a terrible day.
Then just release it as soon as it's available.
Okay. So yeah, please go download all the shows, especially over the holiday season. I'm sure you got some travel, some time to kill. You can also check out the Cust Corner exclusive feed. If you really have time to kill, there's like 40 of them up there right now. I'll get them on Spotify, get them on Apple. Rate and review when you're up there as well. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Smash the like while you're here, and I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.